What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Racing Dudes Live. We will be talking, of course, the major Breeders' Cup action we have going on today at Santa Anita Park. We're really hitting the main part of this card here, the race 7 through 10. Of course, Rodeo Drive. We are sitting here 4 minutes to post. But before we get into that, what's up, man?
What's up, man? This has been a busy Saturday, especially if you like football, because you got a lot of close college football games right now, and then you've got Santa Anita, like I said, the meat of their card. And here we go, right? The Rodeo Drive, right off the bat. We're 4 minutes away from it, and of course, my top pick, Bodicita, is scratched, so I actually fall with the same horse as you. God, I mean, 4-1 right now on the two Maxim rate. I'll let you kind of talk about them first because, you know, you're the one that originally picked the horse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with 4-1. I mean, shit, like, obviously Bodicita, if you listen to Blinkers Off, that was my second choice. You obviously picked, like you said. So having him out makes me feel even better about Maxim Ray. Listen, I just think this horse is kind of the most, consistent and kind of, he obviously likes Santa Anita, and it worked out well for me a little bit ago with Luis Saez jumping on board to a horse, and then here he is again. So I think that's a nice sign as well. And to me, the way this horse has been working, and add in the way this horse has kind of come back this year, distance wise, just won in a mile and 3/8. You don't really necessarily see an issue here. So to me, that I would much rather take 7-2 now, but over even money or 6-5 on Lady Prancelot.
Yeah, Lady Prancelot, I think, definitely makes the tickets here, no doubt. But again, you're right. I mean, 7-2, even if Maxim rate was 5-2, you wouldn't think twice about it. I think you'd probably wager, especially with Bodicita out. So yeah, Maxim rate looks very good. The horse on the rail, I'm not going to try to say that horse's name, but 9-2 is not too bad of a price on that horse either. So I think there's some value to be had right off the bat. We're going to kick off the late pick 5 with this race right here. So I think if you can, beat a 6-5 right off the bat, and especially a 6-5 that we're saying, yeah, sure, she could win, but 6-5 is just kind of crazy. So we're going to try to beat this 6. I thought you said it well just now, and on Blinkers Off. Maxim rate going this distance, I'm pretty excited to see that. So we'll see what Maxim rate can do here. And there you go, Welder on the turf, and I love the username. So obviously this guy or gal is
wasn't that the same one that did the blood pact, the beholder, or not
Bellafina blood
pact or something like that. Yeah, Welder on the turf. Yeah. So Welder on the turf wins last night at Remington Park, but it was as soon as the race was over, the coach was like, "Yeah, we're not trying that again." So he obviously necessarily didn't love the turf, but man, that horse. That was awesome. So if you guys didn't watch that, you got to go watch Welder run yesterday at Remington Park.
Yeah, just real quick, 23 of 35 for lifetime for the 7-year-old gelding. Welder surpassed $1 million, earlier this year at Will Rogers Downs. And then, tries turf for the first time as a 7-year-old. You don't see a lot of 7-year-olds trying turf for the first time. Struggled the whole way around the track, was really fighting the track. Knows where the wire is at Remington, just accelerated the last 50 yards and gets the job done. That was a lot of fun. I don't think Welders could win this turf race. So.
And this horse was purchased for like $10,000 or something, $2,500. I mean, something insane. So you don't often see many horses that you purchase for that they're going to win $1 million. We are 1 minute to post, 6-5 on Lady Prancelot. Again, this is a Breeders' Cup winning her in for the Maker's Mark Filly and Mare Turf. Of course, we have coming up in the sequence, like you mentioned, the Rodeo Drive, this one, the American Pharaoh. Sure, hopefully, we saw Princess Noor earlier just absolutely destroy that field, and clearly going to be the favorite of the juvenile fillies. We might have another Baffert coming up in the American Pharaoh, then the John Henry Turf Championship, which isn't necessarily a Breeders' Cup race, but it is, has some kind of implications. And then the Awesome again, of course, the main event with Improbable versus Max of Security. So they're loading in the gate. 3-1. So obviously getting bet down.
Yeah, went off. They're off for me anyway, and 3-1. So she's.
Yeah, I never know. Sometimes it's either TVG or Twin Spires, and which one's behind. I'm going to switch over to Twin Spires because
Twin Spires is usually just a little bit ahead. So as you're switching there, the 1 is up in front, and Mucho Unusual, the horse we were kind of short on time that we didn't say much about. Obviously, in with a shot as well, and boy, really easy pace. It looks like Mucho Unusual is going to get. That horse also went off to 3-1. So we'll see what happens. Pretty easy pace so far.
Obviously, mile and a quarter race. You're going to just see a lot of sitting in place here for most of the first half of this race or so. Nothing. Nothing. Those first top 2 there kind of pulling away the Mutual Unusual and Tanahutu. I think that's what I call it. I kind of like that. I liked that horse a little bit. Not 9-2 really, but
So up the backstretch now, they're starting to kind of bunch up a little bit. Maxim Rate's starting to get to the leaders a little bit. So it's a little bit of a bunch field all of a sudden. Let's see if Mucho Unusual tries to let it out a notch. I mean, they're within striking distance. I think 49 though, 49-5 for the half. They're going pretty slow. Lady Prancelot's in last actually right now, but that's where she does her running. So, all right, far turn, and Mucho Unusual still with a pretty easy lead. Here comes Maxim Rate.
Maxim Rate looks pretty good.
I'm gonna have to get going though. This Mucho Unusual might wire this thing. Oh, come on, Maxim Rate, kick in this last quarter. Come on.
God, get up.
Oh, they just let that horse get away with 2 slow fractions.
God, he ran good too.
Yeah, good race, definitely. 3 logical finishers there. And the main thing is you beat Lady Prancelot. I think that was a huge key right there to beat her. And again, 6-5, and never for a second did you think Lady Prancelot had a shot in the race. You kind of did think Maxim Rate did, but perfectly slow fractions for Mucho Unusual got the job done.
Well, that's an interesting one too. A lot of things they're weird in that race that makes it hard to handicap. I mean, obviously the horse has shown some ability, but not a horse, other than maybe once has this horse ever been on the lead early on, and so obviously shows some pretty high buyer numbers, consistently buyer numbers. So, obviously the horse was just ready to roll, and the new jockey Hernandez there just kind of took over and took advantage of a slow pace, kind of like we mentioned. Had only ran at this distance once before and was beaten by Lady Prancelot. That was definitely. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. I'm definitely not surprised Lady Prancelot. That's why he played against. Maxim Rate ran the race I thought he would, and just wasn't, just wouldn't get there. So, hang on.
Oh, we got a visitor.
Slim A, what's up, buddy?
No, we can't hear him. Can't hear you, man.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Here we go. Good job. Mucho Unusual. That was the Summer Bombs player there. So,
hey, there you go.
Good hit. Yeah, you don't want Lady Prancelot to win that leg to start this late pick 5. That's the second choice, Mucho Unusual. Gate to wire. You could see at the top of the stretch that Lady Prancelot was just not getting there. It was just she just had a tactical advantage on the whole race. And did Lady Prancelot even get second? I don't even know.
Got third.
Jeez, yeah.
Maxim Rate, Lady Prancelot
was there. Yeah, I mean. Yeah. It just looked like Lady Prancelot just wouldn't get there at all. So pretty interesting. Yeah. I don't know what this means for the Breeders' Cup because I don't think these horses are very good, but I don't know. As an East Coast guy, I don't believe in any West Coast turf horses ever.
As a Midwest guy, I don't think anybody's coming out of that race either. So I don't think it's your bias there. And you're right. It was really important to get Lady Prancelot beat. Also because we got some short prices I think are going to come home after that race. I guess that's yet to be seen, but it was good to get a beat. Third choice, Mucho Unusual, the third choice. So that's good. That's very good for the pick 5s. So
you got to think about some of these horses that are going to be possibly running the Maker's Mark, Philly Mare Turf, like Starship Jubilee, Rushing Fall, Newspaper Record, Mean Mary, Sister Charlie, Magic Attitude.
Mucho Unusual.
Yeah, so I mean,
who doesn't fit?
To your point, it's gonna take a little bit of a ability increase there to get past some of these horses. I mean, you might be able to beat a few of those, but and then Bodacita, who scratched. I mean, obviously a nice horse that. Hey,
hi,
fella. How are you?
On a pony today, right?
Whoa!
And she has her horse. Horses are on right there.
Oh, you're looking good.
Did you ride Dr. Post today?
Dr. Post, yeah. Dr. Post is going to the Jockey Club Gold Cup. That's why I thought that Tacitus should win that race, and then they'll go to the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Tacitus, he better win that race, or he's not going to win one this year, or the rest of this year, I should say, because he's not winning the class.
That's a spot. He won the Suburban there, and he ran the Jockey Club Gold Cup last year. He got third behind Vino Rosso and Code of Honor. So those are two good horses there.
Definitely, yeah. Listen, he's. Is Magic still taking his golden shower? I guess that's where Magic's at, right? That's the only other thing he could be doing.
Take that long, I wouldn't think. But
whose YouTube profile is Holterman is my hero?
He's a deranged person.
Obviously, someone very smart.
I'd be scared.
A poor choice of heroes.
The standards aren't real high there. So we are the next race. We're moving on to the Juveniles, and of course, Spielberg for Bob Baffert is going to be the heavy favorite here, trying to do what stablemate Princess Noor did just a little bit ago earlier in the card. So, we talked a little bit about this on Blinkers Off. Obviously, we felt a lot more strongly about Princess Noor than we, for one, Spielberg hasn't won a damn race yet, and two, that you feel like even though these are both big time purchases, Spielberg has been somewhat of a disappointment considering who he's trained with, what they paid for him, and the horse still hasn't won a race.
It kind of feels like Spielberg just kind of ran into a buzzsaw a little bit, though, down at Del Mar, because he ran two really good races. He just got beat by Dr. Schivel, who's just really good. I mean, that was my number one juvenile. Obviously, he's probably going to get passed, or he will get passed now because he's done for the year. But another horse that won two nice races and was done for the year last year as a 2-year-old was Tis the Law. That really paid off as a 3-year-old. So don't forget about Dr. Schivel. But I mean, Spielberg, I didn't think his maiden was great, but I thought last time out in the Del Mar Futurity, he ran a pretty good race. And I think the big key with Spielberg is the stretch out is probably going to help him a ton. So we knew 3-1 was not something we would get. 3-5 though, I'm shocked at 3-5.
Tough to take 3-5 on a horse that's never won.
Yeah, in a grade 1 race.
I know Dr. Schivel's supposed to be the best, but I don't know. A maiden at 3-5, I don't see it often in their third career race.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what do you? I mean, I think Princess Noor is going to be out of, I was going to ask, like, okay, let's say Spielberg wins and obviously Maximum Security or Improbable, which we kind of established winner of that race is probably going to be the classic favorite. So out of those three, who do you feel the most confident in moving forward into the class or into the Breeders' Cup? And I mean, I think Princess Noor would probably be one of the shorter prices of the 2 days. Wouldn't you guys think?
I think you talk about 3-5. I think she'll be 3-5, right? Especially after that. I mean, this first time stretching out and to look that good. Yeah, I mean, I thought she looked better today than she had in her first two races. And that's saying a lot because she looked really good in those as well. Yeah, she's got to be a really short price, especially you look around the rest of the country. Now, that being said, we got big races still left at Keeneland, and we'll see some at Belmont as well to try to determine who's going to be a challenger. But as we sit here right now, yeah, going to be a really, really heavy favorite in the Breeders' Cup. And you look at this race, and Slim, I don't know, we'll see if you agree with this or not, but if Spielberg can kind of show the same, he's going to go from maiden to might be the favorite going into the Breeders' Cup, him or Jackie's Warrior?
I think Jackie's Warrior. Jackie's Warrior's, won the 2 big races at Saratoga, but I think Jackie Warrior's next going into Champagne, or is he going? Is she? It's so tough with the horse named Jackie. Jackie's the girl's name. So is he gonna go into Champagne next, or the Futurity? One of those 2? I don't know.
I heard the Champagne.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we'll have to see what if he wins the Champagne. I would imagine he'd be the favorite. But this Spielberg, if he runs off the screen today, definitely could be at least the second choice.
Yeah. Well, Magic is the kind of the key California guy as far as talking about horses before they debut. He usually's got a pretty good idea on them. And this is the first one he told me about this summer. He said Spielberg is definitely the big horse for Baffert. He's Baffert's Breeders' Cup horse, and of course he loses twice, but still, he's still here with a shot. So Spielberg, I think a very interesting prospect here for sure. But more than that, my problem with the rest of this field was, who exactly do you feel comfortable picking? I don't see hardly any competition in here for Spielberg. That was my big problem.
Yeah, I mean, you try to, like you say, if you're like, obviously your first thought of handicapping is when you look at one of these horses like this, you're like, okay, how do I beat this horse? So you look at the rest of them and you're like, who does it for? If there was a horse that someone at least had some sort of experience with him, is Weston, and he scratched, and I mean, if you thought he might turn the tables, but no, I mean, it's basically going to take a situation that Spielberg, look at the way this horse is bred, should love going 2 turns, but it would take the fact that he doesn't like going 2 turns and then some horse kind of stepping up and doing it. I mean, I think my bigger question with him is, because I still have a bad taste in my mouth with 8 Rings last year, of course, winning this race and then just shit in the bed in the Breeders' Cup. And, we know, right? Like, Bob Baffert, as good as this guy is, his past success as a Breeders' Cup juvenile trainer is just it's really not there. So do you get excited about a horse like this, or you're more looking at a 2-year-old, that's like, the ones that aren't running yet? Those are the ones Baffert is going to do well with.
As far as next year goes, sure. Yeah, I think so. I don't think he's got a 2-year-old that we haven't seen yet that's going to win the Breeders' Cup. I think if he's going to do it, it's probably going to be with Spielberg. But yeah, as far as next year goes and the big races down the Derby Trail, maybe I don't want a horse that's trying to good for Baffert at the juvenile. I'm thinking about Game Winner, one of my worst Kentucky Derby picks ever. So
yeah, Baffert starts bringing out his good ones as late as February, as we saw with Justify. So you don't even know what he has yet. It's way too early to even think about anything. Let's just the Breeders' Cup and then we'll figure it out. Then we'll get ready for the draft. The only horse I played in this race is Notable Exception. I don't know why. I mean, he's coming off of Arlington synthetic win, but looked impressive there. And I don't know. I think this Jack Sisterton, he's been hot. So I don't know. I feel like he sometimes gets a big upset. So he's the only. That's why I played with. I had to do something different. I had to have I couldn't come to the realization of singling a horse that never won a race before in my sequences. So I said, I got to play somebody. So I just threw in that 4 Notable Exception as my other horse in my pick 3s and pick 5. So I hope he wins because he'll be a lot better price.
No doubt. The question came in, who has the biggest upset potential in the American Pharaoh? And I definitely think, Slim, you touched on the one that is most interesting. I'll ask you guys, kind of open it, and either one can answer. What about the 6? I think the 6 should not be 10-1. So that's who I would. That's my answer to your question, Alex, about maybe who has the best shot of an upset potential. Maybe the 6, because the 6 I think should be around 6, 7, 8-1. Mainly because of the connections. Peter Miller and Flavian Pratt, that's pretty good connections, especially on the West Coast. Trying dirt for the first time, and I think why that's maybe positive, is what if the horse really progresses on the dirt? Because that's what's going to take, we think, to beat Spielberg, a horse that really progresses. What if this horse gets on the dirt and is like, oh, yeah, I like this surface a lot better. By dialed in, I mean, I don't think it's out of the question that this horse is going to like the dirt. So I thought Get Her Number, the 6 horse, just trying to take a stab of, okay, we know these horses are what they are. This one's trying something new. Maybe he steps up.
I mean, just looking at the morning line, that's who John White made this, the second choice. Actually, no, Spielberg was 3-1. That was funny. Okay, yeah. But they were both 7-2, right behind Spielberg on the morning line. I think John got this one wrong. I have a 3-1, so I think he's very tough on himself. So I think he's going to be really kicking himself. He'll probably be on the radio this week and be like, "I'm really kicking myself for making Spielberg a 3-5. He went off 4-5, and I had him at 3-1. It's like, I should have known." He like rates himself. So I'm sure he's going to be really angry about that. But I mean, if you had him at 3-1, and then he had the 4 and the 6, Notable Exception, and Get Her Number, both at 7-2, very close behind Spielberg on the morning line. I think those are the two that now Notable Exception at 6-1 and Get Her Number 9-1. So you're getting 2 to 3 times the price that John thought they could go off at.
Yeah, I actually am going to agree with you, Halterman, on that horse. That was one I was looking at just because of the unknown factor, kind of like you mentioned. Just obviously Peter Miller, very good on a very good trainer in general, but good dirt trainer. Hits at 17% turf to dirt, and then obviously Pratt rode this horse first 2 efforts, staying put. Gary Barber, so the connections are there, dialed in. It should be bred for dirt. So you would think could move forward a little bit. And like you say, his numbers aren't totally awful when he ran back-to-back 65 buyers on the turf. If he increases that 5 to 10 points moving from turf to dirt, he's right there with Spielberg as far as what the numbers he was running. So yeah, if you're looking for like a total upset angle, the 6 is where I would land.
So let's go back to Princess Noor. I feel like we didn't really go into her, all the way. This has got to be the best Baffert 2-year-old right now, right? I mean, I guess the way I should phrase this, is there anything Spielberg should do or could do to overpass what we saw earlier?
I mean,
if he wins this race, they'll be the 2 top horses from the West Coast, Juveniles coming in. So, I mean, the American Pharaoh and the Chandelier are the main built Breeders' Cup prep races. So if they get 2 Bafferts to win them, yeah, I think they're both going. I mean, Princess Noor might come in with be a much lower price on Breeders' Cup Day, but this horse could definitely be the second choice and be 2-1.
Right. Hi, she says.
Hi.
Jared, what do you think?
I mean, to me, just the way Princess, even if Spielberg wins, I think Princess Noor is probably his top 2-year-old at the moment. Just the way he talks about that horse, even prior to running today. I mean, I feel like they've known for a long time that when Bob Baffert you hear him talk about these horses like that, you typically are very good. And the fact that I thought today, the way because I know it was a small field, but she missed a break a little bit, got shuffled back a little bit. I mean, you're looking for some sort of education in these young 2-year-old races, and I thought she got it considering how good she looked. Victor Espinosa ran a very confident ride on her, which when you got that kind of horse, I guess you can. But I think she is. I think she's coming into the Breeders' Cup as hot as I can remember a 2-year-old. Like Juvenile, at least in the recent memory.
Songbird is my kind of comparison.
That's what I was thinking in my head. Songbird. It's got to be.
Of course, interesting.
Songbird did, by the way, at Keeneland. So maybe we got another Songbird-esque moment. And yeah, I guess that's another factor too. Where a lot of times we have the Breeders' Cup out there, so you have the shipping over to Keeneland this year. So you never know how these young horses will ship either.
So if this is as good as a Songbird, then we gotta pump the brakes here just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we're saying as good, but she does kind of remind me of it with her campaign. So
I know.
Yeah, let's be clear. I'm talking hype going into the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah,
so.
no. If she wins it, yeah. No, I'm just saying, she'll be the same price. Yeah. I think I don't know if Songbird. I have to look it up. Songbird was 1-5 in that race. She was really low.
Right.
She was awesome that race too.
So we had a question come in. Are we drafting a pick 4? I think that's what we should do. So the pick 4 for Santa Anita's late pick 4 starts in race 8, which is 11 minutes away. So what we do, we just go around and we each pick one horse, and it's a 3x3x3x3 pick 4. I think it was a Pacific Classic Day. Magic, Mike Somich and I hit it. So I think we should try it again.
Okay. I've never participated in one of these, so.
Okay. So I will pick. So how it works is just we all pick one. So I will pick first in this race, and then Jared, you'll pick first in the next, and so on, right?
Okay.
All right. So here it is. All right. So race 8. I am going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to take the 5, Spielberg.
Someone writing this down?
Yeah, I'm going to write it down.
I got it.
Okay. So who's taking next? Me?
So you go next.
Yeah, since we talked about it, I'll do the 6 there, get her number.
Okay, 6.
And since I talked about it, my horse was the 4, so I'll take the 4, notable exception.
The 4, 5, 6 in this leg.
4, 5, 6. All right, John Henry Turf, the 9th race. It's not a Breeders' Cup win in your end, but really, I think it should be.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is just very well, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, even though these horses aren't necessarily getting the win you're in, certainly are going to see a lot of these horses moving forward towards that. I'm going to go with a horse that, obviously very, very good. Pratt stays aboard, number 3, United.
Okay, United, Slim.
Hold on 1 second. My daughter's running upstairs. I'm going to go with Originaire.
Originaire. All right. So 2, 3, and I'm going to take.
So he had the 3, 2. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm between the 5 and the 7. Ooh,
This could be the difference. That's a tough race.
It's a tough one.
I'm gonna take. Oh boy. Oh man, this.
Look at your picks that you did for the website.
Well, I'm between those two for 3rd and 4th. I'm gonna take the 7. I'm gonna take the 7.
Next shares.
Yep, next shares.
Next shares. Yeah, next shares. I mean, he has the back class,
exactly.
And he runs well at this course, and you could throw out his Kentucky Downs race there, and he ran crappy at Keeneland, but whatever. Maybe he just needed it. He's old as hell. He's 7 years old, so yeah, why not?
maybe he'll. I don't know. Like if he runs his absolute best race, he can win. And I'm not sure the 5 can. So that's kind of where I went there. All right, Slim, we're heading to the Awesome again. And you got the first pick.
I'll take Improbable, the 2.
Probable. I'm interested to come back to that during the race, but because that's my top pick as well. So I'm going to take Sleepy Eyes Todd with my pick. I'm taking the 3, Sleepy Eyes Todd.
What if I take midcourt here and we leave off Maximum Security? Would that shake things up a little bit?
The pressure's on you.
My pick is Maximum Security. So although if you were going to go Maximum Security, which I thought you were, I was debating between giving a little homage to you and taking Sleepy Eyes or picking midcourt. But I think midcourt's he's the bridesmaid. So I think he's underneath, but Maximum Security. So that's mine.
All right. And then the final race, I think this is the toughest one. I hope you guys have got some creativity because I took a shot here that this race just wasn't very good. And we got a first-time starter, Peter Miller, Luis Saez. They already had a win yesterday on the card together. First-time starter, Gary Barber owns. I took the 10 in race 11.
Oh, yeah. This is – I feel like we have a good shot at getting live to this race, and this one could do it for us or not. Listen, it's hard to go against. Can I say Drug O'Neill?
Yeah.
I'll say Drug O'Neill. Number 2, Ingest. Finished third, almost won that last time out. Got beat by Big Fish, who went on to win that race at Del Mar. We just talked about with the horse that we were talking up for this race, that 6 horse. Get her number. Finished 4th to Big Fish. So there's a little bit of, I think that horse is kind of moving forward on the turf. And 9 to 5, I don't really love, but Redham Racing, Gutierrez, Doug O'Neill, I'll take that.
Well, when Sleepy Eyes Todd wins, we just need to get that last leg home. So we'll take the 9 to 5.
Let's up to Slim then.
Yep, Slim, what do you got?
Yeah, this is a tough one here. I got a bunch of horses. I was hoping he didn't take the 2 and the 10 were my top 2 choices. So I got the 5 and the 8, and there's somebody else here I want to look up. 5, the 8, the 1, and the 6. So there's a bunch here. I got like 4 horses to choose from, and it's really all over the place. This is really tough.
Yeah, we got 6 minutes, so we can.
I don't know. Who would you take, Aaron?
Between the 5 and the 8.
You're
asking, or who would I take in general?
I think you got who you take in general, not even the 5 and the 8. If you got the 1 and the 6, you got like 2. I think I saw.
Yeah, I like the 1. I just think for a price, I think the 6 makes a lot of sense. I'd probably throw the 6 in.
The 6 investment account.
Yeah.
I don't know his trainer.
Trainer's 14% this year. That's Santa Anita.
The trainer's 14% this year?
At Santa Anita. Only 28 starters.
Who did you pick in the John Henry?
Who did I pick?
Yeah.
Next shares.
Okay.
I'm going to play this ticket then.
Okay, so who do you have, Slim, in this one?
The 6.
6. So you took the 6. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with you, dude.
All right. So just to recap, so we did a draft pick 4. Basically, if you're just joining us, the pick 4 at Santa Anita starts in, 5 minutes now. So here we go. So leg 1, 4, 5, 6. Leg 2, 2, 3, 7. Leg 3, 2, 3, 5. And the final leg, 2, 6, 10. So that's the draft pick 4. And like I said, Pacific Classic Day, I think it hit for $500. I don't think this one pays $500, but if you get Max beat, maybe. If you get Spielberg beat, maybe. I think it's worth it.
But what's fun about doing it this way is, because people give you shit about going 3 deep and maximum security or whatever, or Spielberg in this case, and you're like, well, but if you can imagine getting both of those beat, and hell, imagine if Sleepy Eyes Todd wins the damn race. He won't. Imagine if he does, then it blows up.
But even getting United beat in here, there's going to be 3 huge favorites. Spielberg, United,
for sure,
and Maximum Security 3 in a row. So you get one of them beaten here pretty well with the 50 ticket. Yeah.
Well, we should point out that the last time when this hit, Maximum Security was in the sequence, and he won, and he was a big favorite, and it's still a favorite, and it still paid well. So, I think what you said, Slim, is 100% true. If you just can get a couple of these favorites beat, it doesn't necessarily have to be him. Listen, Spielberg's a maiden, right? So I think even if you were playing and you're trying to construct a ticket, this is a leg I would go deeper in. I just wouldn't want to single a maiden, to start this pick 4. He very well could win, but I just wouldn't. I would think, okay, you could take a shot here. And then the next race, United's the best horse, but that horse loses races he shouldn't a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you naturally would go deep there. Now, would you naturally go 3 deep in the Awesome again? No, probably not. So that's where we kind of stretch it. So if you're playing one and you're like, okay, I like the 3 horses in the first 2 legs, I'll go short in the 3rd leg and then add some in the 4th leg. That logically makes sense as well.
All right, we are sitting here 2 minutes to post. You got even money on Spielberg, so it's floating up for sure. 92 on Touchdown Brown, 92 non-notable exception, and that 10-1 on the 6 horse. So the 3 that we're playing here, 92 even money and 10-1. So
yeah, let's get 10-1 home.
And here's the thing too. I mean, I think that it's like, and I know Slim, you're a lot more of a exotics guy, especially in the big days. But like, how do when people look at these kind of races, and we're talking about, we're looking at ways to beat United and Spielberg and hell, even Maximum Security for that matter. But what do you do? Like, what's any strategies that people playing like can help them? Like, okay, you don't want to invest $300-$400 in a pick 4 here. That very easily could go chalk mid price.
Yeah, no, you don't want to spread too much. If you really like one of them, pound them, or if you really want to. I think I played a pick 3. I know this is crazy. It's just I have a hate for Maximum Security. So I played a pick 3 where both my pick 3s I just ended in Improbable. So I don't know.
And I think that's a good point is you have an opinion and you're going to press that opinion and you might be wrong, but you're not investing a ton of money into it. But if you're right, it pays.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like maybe in a pick 5, having both of them in there is fine because you're not going to lose the value. But in a pick 3, if you put both of them in there, Improbable and Maximum Security, you're really it's tough to make any money playing 2 horses in a pick 3, or a double. You just got to pick one and go with it. Even in the pick 4, if you got 2 really tight horses like that, it's tough to play both of them. I got myself in trouble like this last year on Travers Day in a pick 5. I said, I'm not going to play a late and Midnight Pursuit, and I only played a late, and I would have won like $6,500 on the pick 5 because of it, and it would have cost me like $60 more to play here. It was just ridiculous. I'm like so dumb. So you can really shoot yourself in the foot with that situation, but that's in a pick, and that's what I kind of learned from that is in a pick 5, you need to have yourself covered with both of these horses. But in shorter bets, pick 3 double, just pick one and go with it.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about. I mean, we know what Princess Noor, if Spielberg goes and does what at least these betting odds suggest he'll do. Even though it'll be only his first win going into the Breeders' Cup, do you still feel pretty confident in him? I know the competition on the boys' side, obviously, we know is tougher, but with the Jackie, the boy that sounds like a girl, is that still the danger? Like, are you like, would anything here make you feel confident in picking Spielberg like over some of these 2-year-olds in the Breeders' Cup?
100%. If he wins this race impressively, he's probably gonna be my pick.
Okay.
I just, just because
it's Baffert, and we know what this horse, at least the beliefs are what this horse could be.
Exactly. I mean, you said it right there. If you don't have confidence in Baffert, ask us how the Derby went. I mean, the guy won the Derby with a 50. I mean, come on,
It's going to be tough for Jackie's Word to be the favorite if Spielberg runs well here. Just because if he does go to the Champagne, he have 3 straight 1-turn races.
Right.
And Spielberg will already been proven around 2 turns. There's other horses here. I'm looking at the list of Derby 2021 list. I like Reinvestment Risk and Founder for Chad Brown. Obviously, got to throw those 2 out. Team Merchants. So there's other good ones out there, but I think they're getting in the gate here for the American Power, as I see.
Here we go. Go for F6.
And they're loading. Spielberg just went in for me.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's always exciting. I know what the maiden is 4 to 5, but it's still exciting. These kind of getting the new blood in here with these 2-year-olds. So
here we go.
A lot of speed signed on. Looks like a good break.
Yeah, good.
No exception is going to be at the pack of the pack, my horse. And across the board, you got the 6. Get her number on the outside of Spielberg in the middle. And down is Dynamite.
On debut, Spielberg set off a little bit. Of course, couldn't get to Dr. Shivel. And last time out, did try to go gate to wire. So it looks like today we're going to see Leah Sias. sit off a little bit here.
The 4 has moved up nicely to the outside of Spielberg as they sit third and fourth behind the 2 leaders. And we have Dynamite, the long shot at 30-1. 1 length ahead of number 6, Get Her Number. That was Jared's pick. And Get Her Number is having a nice stalking trip. Down on the outside is Spielberg. Down on the inside is Spielberg. He's going to have to find some space to run here. And Spielberg's making his move on the inside. Notable exception still out there. Drop down to 5-1 notable exception.
I think the 6 looks pretty good.
Wasburnt also making a big move on the outside.
What about this 8?
This Wasburnt's making a big move here as the 6 takes the lead and the big long shot Dynamite starts dropping back through the field. The 6 is looking strong here, but the 2 moves to the outside. I don't know.
Hold off the 2, 6. Come on, 6. Hold off the 2, please.
Rombauer.
Come on, 6.
6 gotta get the.
Come on, 6.
6 looks like
come on, 6.
Good strength here. The 6 looks like he has good strength. He's gonna hold off the Rombauer. 6, good choice, guys. That was the long shot.
Here we go, baby. That's a way to start that off.
Woo.
You might get he set off the long shot, but he pressed the pace and then held everyone off. Nice run by this Get Her Number. Spielberg dog meat after that. I just say that out loud.
Spielberg is a dog for sure. That horse, that was not great. I mean, I know that maybe not exactly the best trip you want, but come on.
Money. Oh, he did finish the trifecta, but way back.
The 2 was one that I guess another horse. How about that? The top 2 finishers going turf to dirt. So that should tell you how bad this field was, that both those horses going turf to dirt, making that transition, finished 1-2 in this race. So,
well, I'm pumped right now because I used the 5-6 for the tip sheets as far as this leg at the multi. So live there, that is very, very good news to have the 6 there, because that's going to make this thing pay a lot more than it should have. I guess the only disappointment for me is I just didn't see the 2 coming at all. I had 6-5-8 would have hit the try, and that would have been a good try, but I didn't have the 2 anywhere, so that sucks. But man, that's a shot of adrenaline for me, for us, quite frankly, and anybody that played the ticket that we gave out, because it's all of a sudden now 3 favorites, and we're still in pretty good shape to cash a good one. So we got to be pumped, guys. That's maybe we're not pumped for what's next for those horses. Maybe Jackie's Warrior is now a pretty big favorite in the Breeders' Cup, but you got to be pumped for our tickets now, especially these next 2 races when you're 3 deep and 3 deep. We got a good shot to get to that last one.
I'm liking that ingest in the last race there too. That's a horse I mentioned or I picked and ran in that same or ran against Big Fish, who had beaten that winner, right, to get her number last time out. So you have a little bit of back class there to go with that short price. So yeah, I mean that's we can really just get them home at this point, because that's going to help pay anything right there.
Yeah.
I mean, get her number. This horse will jump up and be one of the top choices for the juvenile now. I mean, if Sitting on Go is going to be like after the big long shot win on Derby Day in the Iroquois, this horse at least came in with some kind of resume. Get her number. So if Pratt goes to Keeneland on him, let's see. It's it's not horrible.
Did that horse go off at 8-1?
Yes. Now you know why I'm over here going, holy cow, we've got a good ticket all of a sudden.
Yeah, I was thinking, I guess I hadn't looked at it yet. I was thinking the horse was like 4 or 5-1. All right.
Yeah.
That is great. All right.
I think I'm going to bounce.
All right.
Hey, before you go, any final thoughts because obviously again, you're picking Improbable. You mentioned that.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'll talk a little about Improbable. So if everybody wants to hear my awesome again, I listened to the podcast, the Dude's podcast, and I just agree with Aaron that Improbable has better class this year. He's raced better horses. And Maximum Security, I don't know. I never liked this horse. So I mean, it's just I can't like him. I feel like I just can't back him. You know, if he looks amazing here, then I'm gonna have to. I'm singling Max and spreading the last. Michael Myers says, yeah, that's probably the right thing to do. I'm just very adamant that I just don't like this horse, Maximum Security. He's such a prick.
It seems like he's one of those horses. Like you either love him or hate him. I mean, that's pretty much how he is. What do you agree that the winner of this race is going to be the favorite of the classic and moving forward? Obviously. You know, obviously this is a very important race for that race. And how are you looking at that race in general, as far as if Improbable wins here, is he probably going to be your pick in the classic?
Yeah, I mean, you got to, if Improbable wins here, will he be my pick in the classic going 1.25 miles? No, I don't think so. I still don't really like him at 1.25 miles. I just feel like his best races are mile 16th, mile and 8 still. I just something about me, even when he went to the Derby, I didn't love him at 1.25 miles, Improbable. And, you know, I don't know. I just have to see how much pace to sign on, Maximum Security. If he gets pressed, you know. I don't really love the whole idea that Tom's the Tot is training up to the Breeders' Cup. It seems like it's too big of a gap. I don't really love that. I mean, if he looked unbelievable in his last race, then I would see do it. I mean, I know he stumbled out of the gate, but if he stumbled out of the gate, why don't get him another race to make sure he doesn't stumble out of the gate in the biggest stage? You know, I know something screwed up happened. I think you guys were talking about Improbable was freaking out in the gate. I think that kind of distracted Tom's the Tot, and he like looked over at him, and then he just like wasn't ready for the break, and he just fucked up. So I think that. So I don't love Tom's the Tot just because he's coming off such a long layoff, and 'tis the law. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. He's going to take a lot of money because he's such a, you know, everyone's going to be rooting for him. So he's going to take a lot of fan money. And Authentic, I don't think he'll win. So I like my guy Tacitus to win the Breeders' Cup.
Well, it's time for you to go, Slim.
Mott Tacitus.
2020.
There we go. So that's my shit for the night. The next race, United looks like pretty much of a slam dunk. I'd be happy if he won, but you know, I think Originaire can definitely upset him here. We also got next shares. You got the back class. So I like those two in here. Maybe if we beat Spielberg and then United back-to-back races, doesn't matter from there on out. We get two favorites to come home. It's going to pay pretty decently. So that's what we got to hope for.
All right. Thanks, Slim, for joining us. And yeah, definitely as we get closer to the Breeders' Cup, definitely stay tuned for more analysis from Slim. All right. See you, buddy.
Yeah, I got to try to do something. I don't know. I might do a Preakness article. Should I do a Preakness article?
I wouldn't.
Don't waste my time writing a Preakness article.
People are
theory about the Preakness, and I got to look at how much speed is going to be signed on, because I've been comparing Authentic to Nyquist for like 2 articles in a row, and now I feel like Nyquist went into the Preakness and all that speed was signed on, and it drilled them into the fucking ground, and an Exaggerator won, and then even Cherry Wine got up for second. So imagine Authentic, somehow that same shit happens to him. He gets drilled into the ground, and he ends up getting second or third, and Country Grammar wins the Preakness. All right, I'm done. On that note, my pick for the Preakness is Country Grammar, baby.
I kind of thought you'd be done with that damn horse by now, but
he's back. I got Country Grammar winning. I'm just such a fanboy. I got Country Grammar winning the Preakness, Tacitus winning the Breeders' Cup Classic, and if I don't make a few thousand off of that, then I'll be really upset. So
you're not going to.
No, I'll probably lose a couple hundred. That's pretty bad. All right, take care, boys.
All right, hey, buddy. Thanks for coming on. Boy. Never fails. So yeah,
I missed him already.
He does such a good job helping us with the pick 4 there, and then he gives us Tacitus, and Country Grammar. So I don't. Apparently, he started smoking earlier. But we are on to what we got. How many minutes?
Yeah. So, quick question, Michael Mark, has Chad Brown won the Preakness? Yes, he has. Do you remember the horse?
I do. Do you?
No, I'm asking you. Do you remember the horse?
Cloud computing.
Exactly. I hate that horse.
And let me tell you, the craziest thing. Always Dreaming, of course, won leg 1, and then he came in leg 2, and then we went to the Jim Dandy to watch those two face off. And I mean, you were in the paddock, and you can't ask for two better looking horses, and they just shit the bed. And hey, who won that Jim Dandy? I know you know that answer, but anybody?
Yeah, good Samaritan.
There you go. So. Who also was kind of never seen from again, so to speak, on that performance.
Oh, he was seen from. He just didn't do anything.
Well, he was there. But yeah, that was a kind of a weird year. But yeah, Cloud Computing pulled off the. That was a great win though. He looked awesome. Like he just thought, and Slim. I mean, it's unfortunate Slim had a leaf because he would be. A dude would have a semi right now talking about Cloud Computing. He loved that horse.
Yes. Oh, he absolutely did. The question, did he ever hit the board after the Preakness? He didn't win, I know for sure, and he didn't come close. He may have, maybe he got third somewhere, but I don't think so, is my answer to that without looking it up.
I'm going to look it up here. I'll give you the resume of what
yeah.
He did manage to make 1.1 million. Of course, it helps when you win the Preakness. No, he didn't. So he third in the, second in the Gotham, third in the Wood. Preakness he won, fifth in the Jim Dandy that day. Travers eighth. The Westchester finished fourth, and then that fall ran at Aqueduct in an allowance and finished seventh, and that was the last time he ran. So,
when the Preakness winners run at Aqueduct. In the same year? That was the same year? No, that was the next year.
That was the next year because he took after the Travers, he was done.
Right.
And then he came back the next year in the Westchester all the way till May at Belmont Park. And that's when he finished fourth. Then was off again until November. And yeah, clearly, I mean, that's just insane to think that the Preakness winner just never even sniffed again and was just awful.
Yep. Yeah. Well, like Dan said on the feed here on the chat, it was a horrid year for 3-year-olds. Just one of the worst I can ever remember as far as Triple Crown goes. That series was just awful.
Classic Empire, Senior Investment, Looking at Lee, Gunnavera, Always Dreaming, Hints.
Hated him. That
was a rough year for sure.
Oh, Looking at Lee. Looking at Lee is still running, by the way. So, yeah, it was really bad. Really, really bad. Looking at Lee finished third in an allowance at Remington Park last time out. And that was the first, or maybe the second time he's hit the board in like a year. And not only was he third, he was beaten like 15. So that's how bad that horse has dropped. Anyway, back to the today. Let's try to keep this rolling, Jared, because all of a sudden we're sitting here with a good ticket in our hands, right? And we've got United, who's 4-5, who both said, well, he likes to lose. Originaire, I think, was your selection, right?
I was United. Originaire was Slim.
I think that's a good pick. That's who I would have had. And then next year's, now listen, if the 5 wins, I'm going to be sick because I was debating between the 5 and 7. But I think next year's, he's good at 6-1. So if Originaire next year's can win, all of a sudden, give us Max and give us your 2 in the last that's a favorite. It doesn't matter, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we just got to get through this leg, I feel like, and we'll at least – because if you get beat – if you get beat with the 3 that we have, I guess midcourt would be the one that you would really be pissed about. But if you get beat, then you're just like, whatever, in that leg, you never would have had it. And then, obviously, the last leg if we can get to the last leg alive – I wasn't expecting us to stay on for race 10, but I would be more than happy to stay on to race 10 if we have a ticket live. So
race 11, you mean? But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that would be nice. Let's see. We are 13 minutes to post. 4 to 5 on United. Originaires is 4 to 1, and then you got 9 to 2. No, you picked the 7, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
7 home. I'm fine with that.
Salvatore Monday, the 5 horse, which is the other one I played on the regular ticket, not our combined one. 9 to 2. That horse is taking money. Could be taking money because Rispoli's on, and Alberto Rispoli is picked up right where he left off from Del Mar. I mean, he's riding fantastic. So his horses automatically just take money. So that could be a little the reason why. But listen, you want to bottom line this race, United should not lose.
No, I mean, you look at his last. Gosh, how far do you have to go back? You have to go back to the Breeders' Cup of last year, where he finished second by a head, okay, to Briggs and Mortar. Unbelievable horse. Finishes second by net to Oscar Dominguez. It wins 3 in a row. Beats your favorite horse, Rock Empire. And then gets second by a head again to Red King. You know what I mean? That's all this horse does in the last year, essentially, is either win or just brutally lose races. So, yeah, that he would be an awful one, especially if it's the 5 that brutally beats him in this case. But yeah, I mean, you look at these horses who he's facing here. I mean, this is a horse that likes Santa Anita, obviously likes this distance. You know, Pratt. You know, no surprise there. Riding, there's just not a lot to not like about him. Just you got to get him home, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. He's a really, really fun horse. And Slim kind of made fun of the California turf horses, which I pretty much agree with. But this is one that he has proven that he could probably be a factor in the Breeders' Cup because he almost won it last year. Now, I realize last year was his home track, but I really think this horse runs the level of competition. So you put him in the Breeders' Cup, yeah, he might run good enough to hang around with those horses. I don't really think he has a care to really win. I just think he likes to run and be close to winning. And if his nose gets down or if he gets ahead at the end, that's fine with him. But if he doesn't win, yeah, he doesn't really care about that either. He just likes to run with that top bunch.
He's just there to have fun. That's all that matters.
Right. And we should all be there to have fun, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
So yeah, so obviously this is not a win or in race, but like we kind of mentioned, I mean, you got to think United's on his way towards the Breeders' Cup from here, and at least a few others like next year is a horse that can run everywhere. And then Originaire, another horse that usually is on the West Coast, but it's a classy enough to where if he were to run well here, wouldn't be surprised to see them throw an entry as well. So yeah, I mean, it definitely has the makings of field. United to me is the one that, like you said, even though last year was at his home track, he goes and wins this. You have to take him pretty seriously at the Breeders' Cup just because he does have class, and he outbeat the eventual horse of the year, Bricks and Mortar, last year.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So,
and you look at his numbers; he's really not regressed all that. I mean, the Breeders' Cup turf, he ran a 103 buyer that day, getting beat by Bricks and Mortar. I mean, he ran a 101 and a 100 earlier this year. So it's not like he's regressed all that much. I mean, he's pretty much the same horse as he's been. So, I mean, if he runs and wins here, you got to think he's a legit contender in the Breeders' Cup as well.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And Michael Myers says, will United or Zulu Alpha be the favorite in the Breeders' Cup? I don't think either one, but I think they both will be in it, and I think they'll both be under 10 to 1. Maybe it just depends on the. It also depends on the foreign horses that are coming over, like who's coming over from overseas. This is gonna be a big thing. I don't think they'll be favorites, but listen, United wins this race. He's right up there with, well, even if he loses, he's still right up there with anybody, and he's shown it. And like I said, he's proven it before. So there's a good point by Rick. Rick James is back. There's a good point. Arklow will beat them both. That is a horse I never can get on the right side of. I agree that he's capable, but at the same time, he's also capable of running like eighth. So I never can get him right.
Well, I know your name's not really Rick James. It's James Rick, right? James, I think you got to be careful with that because the way that they trained Arklow into that last race, that was like a lot of these horses. We talked a little bit about this on Blinkers Off. Like a lot of these horses are geared up for the Breeders' Cup. That's where they're aiming to. Whereas Brad Cox was like, we really trained him. I trained him hard for this race at Kentucky Downs, because I think it made a lot of sense. It's is that $1 million race? I think it was. And it's like, it makes a lot of sense to try to win one of those when you know that you're likely going to get everyone's best shot at the Breeders' Cup, and it's going to be much more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit around the head, $1 million race, and we can win this one. So let's have him run huge right here. And then after that, we'll just see. I kind of think that's kind of what happened with Honor Code last year. Suge got him ready to run that big race, and he won, which was Code of Honor, which was the Travers. And then after that, it was just like, well, whatever happens after this happens. But we had to win that Travers. We knew he could do that. We geared him up for that. And so that's what happens sometimes with these trainers. That are smart. They realize, okay, here's $1 million pot. We can win it. And then, we'll take our chances in the Breeders' Cup, but it's not as likely that we're going to win a race like that.
Right.
So 7 minutes now. We've now got 3-5 on United. Let's kind of play, I believe, as Alex Henry asked us about, okay, now who's the long shot? In the last race, the American Pharaoh, who's the long shot that you're looking at now with United at 3-5?
Real quick, it looks like your defending champions, LSU, is about to go down here.
Yeah, so. I've got them on the other screen. LSU is going to get beat 44-34. Really? Mike Leach's first game at Mississippi State, new head coach Mike Leach, going to go to Baton Rouge and knock off the number 6 team in the country. So there's 2 top 6 teams that lost. My team lost earlier today as well. Number 3 Oklahoma lost. And currently we've got Texas and Texas Tech tied at 56. Looks like that's going to go into overtime. So a lot of defense in the Big 12.
All right, let's go with. Gosh, you know what? I really like the 3 that we have. I think it'd take a pretty major upset. Obviously we touched on the 5 a little bit. So you're really looking at. I kind of like the Proud Pedro a little bit here at 12-1. I just think, you're getting. It seems like he just came off of that Grade 2 Del Mar handicap against Red King, United, Originaire, so horses that he's faced in here in the past, but ran a pretty high number that day, career high actually. So if you think maybe you're getting him on the uptrend here. Obviously is like Santa Anita with 2 wins, 8 starts. He's got this distance. He's 1 for 1 at this distance. So, yeah, I think if United falters which we know can very possible to happen. I think he could definitely come up and sneak up and win this race and kind of surprise everyone because it's not going to take a whole lot of increase of what he ran last time out at Del Mar. And then he, of course, switches back to Santa Anita, which we know he likes. So I think the 1 would be the horse that would play a long shot.
That's absolutely who I was going to say as well as far as a long shot goes. I think Magic likes this horse a little bit as well. I know he did last time out at Del Mar. So, yeah, Proud Pedro 12-1. I definitely have seen crazier things happen. And, again, we keep saying it and saying it, what we're looking for here at the top of the stretch, okay, there's United. He's right there. Will he kick on? Will he make it easy on himself? Or will it get tight and come down to a photo? We're talking about a horse that almost beat Bricks and Mortar last year and almost lost to Rock Emperor this year. That tells you all you need to know. The horse just hangs there at the wire and says, okay, who's going to come run with me? So we're going to see what happens here. I'm not going to be surprised if we get an upset.
He's a hanger. Yeah, let's just hope if it's an upset, it's not the one, since neither one of us played it. But on our ticket. But yeah, I think we are 4 minutes. Oh boy. He looks awesome, but he always does. United is a horse too that for half a second, Mandela was like, hey, let's run him Pacific Classic, let's go do that next. And they're like, well, hang on, we're not going to do that. So, obviously that Mandela has a lot of high opinion of this horse. He's just been a true hard knocking 5-year-old worth, has made over $1.2 million in his career. So
yep,
not bad.
Yeah, no, I know. And he's one, he's like, I'm not comparing him, but he's kind of like the California people. He's kind of like their welder in a way, as my Oklahoma welder, this United California. He's hard knocking. He runs great every time. He shows up in every turf race that they have in Southern California. And he just kind of becomes a favorite because of that consistency and how much you see him all the time. So yeah, I'm rooting for him to win, even though it's not going to help us that much if he does, other than we're still alive. If he's coming down the stretch and our 2 and 7 aren't anywhere, then I'm sure as hell rooting for the 3. But just as a fan, I love United. Ever since he kind of came onto the scene, he's been fun to follow. And like I said, the consistency. Listen, I think next year's, you want to talk about next year's for just a second, since we have him on the ticket. I do believe his best race can win here. I just wish we could see it, or somebody could guarantee me we could see it. Yeah. If you talk about United and consistency, you can go to next year's and say, wow, is this horse inconsistent? He's so inconsistent. He's getting older, but man, I thought about that. Like before, I thought, well, he's done, and then he would come up and he would run a really good race. So I don't know. Maybe he kind of sneaks in there, pulls off an upset as well. If he's really flying home, because he flies, down the stretch. So if he comes from behind and he's flying, and United and say another horse are kind of battling and United's hanging, he could sneak out the outside and beat him. I think that's where I'm landing with him, and why I'm sort of optimistic that he could win.
No, I mean, that's the thing. When you have a horse that's the ultimate hanger, you can make a case for almost any of them in here. Because if he doesn't hang, or if he hangs, then you're just like, well, who's going to be just almost as good as, just barely good enough. So I don't necessarily think – I think to me, United is the only horse in this race that I feel good about if he wins, obviously, heading into the Breeders' Cup. And frankly, even if he doesn't win, if he does another hanging job going in the Breeders' Cup, you still have to respect him, because that's kind of his MO, right?
Yeah.
You would like to say, well, he only hangs once, and then the next race he'll win, but sometimes we'll do it a couple times in a row. So yeah. You never know what you're going to get with him. It's got to be frustrating for Pratt to ride this horse sometimes, thinking, dude, it's like, you got it, finish it off. So, but yeah, we are almost got this race.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're kind of looking like they're heading towards the gate here. So
I want to get to the awesome again conversation. That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, I know. That's gonna be a fun one for sure. So here we go. They're loading in the gates.
Wake Magic up.
Yeah, what the hell? I mean, this is his track. I'm gonna text him and say
he'll get pissy with me, so I'll let you do it. So
I'll text him and say, well, it's kind of your job to be on Magic. So
you do live out there. Every fucking guy and horse out there.
Yeah, he would have screwed up this pick 4, I feel like, though. All right, you're up. Oh gosh, here we go. Got to sweat this out now.
Well, thank goodness we had Slim come on, or else we would have been forced to do 2 by 2 by 2, and that would have been no fun.
That would have been. We probably would have been out already.
I don't know if I would have gone with the 6 if we just said the top 2. So
right, United is on the lead.
United's gonna go gate to wire here, folks. Okay, gate to wire.
Where the 5 is in a really good stocking spot at second, but they got so far to go. I mean, they're just passing the wire for the first time, but the 5 is getting a good trip right now.
Fun fact: United has never gone gate to wire in his career. So I mean, he's been close, obviously, a few times, very close to the pace, but never been set every fraction on himself. So this will be. He looks very comfortable. He's going, 49, almost 49 flat there, which is right in his wheelhouse.
This
no
race,
him. There's no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's really his race to lose. Your question is, at this point, will someone come up to him, which we think, they will, and how will he respond? Will he let them get by him and then he'll get going, or what?
Yeah. Like, will he kick away? which, this race reminds me a lot of Mucho Unusual.
Yep.
In the Rodeo Drive. So 5's under a ride and responding. 7's right there. 2's right there.
Pratt is just chilling on him.
Yeah. 5's under a pretty heavy ride. I don't think he's going to make.
I think United's about to win this easily. I mean, he should. He looks really good.
Here comes the 2.
I mean, he's pulling away now. Come on, boy.
Yeah, don't wait on him. Don't wait on him. Just finish it. Finish the race.
Get up 2 if you're going to.
I was going to say, come on, 2. Come on, 2. Beat him now.
2, but no. Okay, United, that was way too easy. 3, 2, 4. So there you go. Where did next year's was way back? I didn't even get last.
Yeah, I sat there and debated on the 5 and the 7, and neither one of them were even close. So
there you go. Jared's 2 picks have won the first 2 legs. I mean, I don't want to but thank goodness I finally got on one of these, because you guys won without me. Don't worry about it. But yeah, all right, we're alive. It's all that matters.
Yep. That was a good race from him. And the thing I liked about it, as he was running down the stretch, I said, "Don't hang, just kick away from him." I mean, it's not like he separated it from the field, but he didn't let anybody get close to him today. I thought that was good. And Originaire got a really good inside trip, cut the corner, ducked out. I mean, I thought Originaire had a good trip, ran a pretty good race. United actually kind of was like, yeah, I'm the boss today. And you don't see that from him very often. So really nice performance for United. I love when that horse wins.
Does it make you wonder if perhaps a new tactic should be employed with him and just get him to the lead and let him kind of dictate the race? I mean, again, if you have a fast horse that requires them to go to the lead, they may get, but he looked really comfortable out front and kind of forces these other horses to come to him. And whenever you kind of have that high speed gear going a mile and a quarter, it's tough to run down some of those horses.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And maybe that is the deal. Get him out there and so he doesn't have to pass anybody and he never sees another horse and it's just he's out on his own. I don't know. Or maybe this horse is just, he's getting older and he kind of is starting to figure out, hey, we know what to do now. We got to win. We're supposed to win this race. We're not supposed to let these other horses get next to us. So I thought that was great. Really good performance after losing at Del Mar. When he ran a winning race, he just got beat by an incredible ride by Rispoli that day at Del Mar, but a good comeback race. And yeah, I mean, 100% it should be on to the Breeders' Cup now for United, as long as he's healthy and ready to go for that spot.
Yeah, like I said earlier, he's definitely dangerous now coming in for that performance. Yeah, he'll get some steam going into the Breeders' Cup, no doubt. Just imagine if that was at Santa Anita this year. But yeah, I mean, I think he deserves it too. I mean, he's, like we say, he about won last year, beating the eventual horse of the year, Brick Score.
I'm watching the feed right now, and they got over to the turf and they switched him over to the dirt, and that horse is running like he's in a race. Like
I see it. Yeah,
he's not tired at all. Like he's like, all right, let's go. So it almost makes you wonder how like they didn't get to the bottom of him, obviously, because he's just flying around this dirt track, jogging back to the winner's circle. Trust me, he knows where that's at, and he knows where he's going. He doesn't look tired at all. How fast could this guy actually go if he wanted to? I love that. I loved that. He was kind of trotting, and right when he hit the dirt, he was like, "Oh, I know where I'm going now." I love seeing that. I don't know. That's the thing about horse racing that you love. When you see one and he knows what he's done, he's like, okay, now it's winter. Now it's picture time. So he's looking good. He's very proud of himself today.
Glad to be back in the winner's circle. It's been a minute. Yeah, that was nice. All right. So we are on to the Awesome Again, which of course is the Breeders' Cup win you're in for the Longines Classic. And really the two, I mean, you could argue Tom's Diatai, of course, and Tis the Law, of course, but Improbable and Maximum Security have been there all year, or at least part of the year for Max. And, really the winner of this race should be the favorite going into the Breeders' Cup. So you've got a legit, it's a small field of 5, but make no mistake about it. This is a very important race, both for these horses and us to watch and kind of see, who, because you also have to think, like, you read Bob Baffert's quotes and it's like, listen, I needed to run Improbable somewhere, and this just made more sense to run them here versus shipping them or whatever. And so you kind of have to put some of those kind of like we talked about earlier with our clothes, like you kind of have to play those angles too. Like, what was the goal here? Was it just to get him to race? And obviously his best day is going to come next month. So you kind of have to always, or 2 months, I guess, but in November at the Breeders' Cup, you kind of have to take that into mind as well.
Absolutely. And I think the idea of running them both together isn't kind of as crazy as some people. I haven't seen a ton, but some people think it's kind of nuts to do that. I don't really think so. And the reason why is you're at home. It's a 5-horse field. The goal is just to get one more race in them. I mean, win or, obviously you enter a horse to win, but it doesn't really matter if you're Baffert who wins this race. You just want to get them fit and ready. And why would you ship one all the way across the country? I mean, to me, it just makes more sense to do it like this. And also the timing of the race, I think, is really good. They're going to have ample time to recover after this. Or if they would have went to Belmont, it's later on, and now you've got 3 weeks to get ready instead of 5. So there's a lot going on there that made me think, yeah, that really doesn't surprise me that he's doing this. So listen, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a little bit of a showdown, though. I really do, because I think the level of improvement of Improbable is going to make this close. If they ran this race in January, I would think Maximum Security all the way. But Improbable, when you look at his 3 races, of course the 2 wins, and don't forget about those. The Oaklawn Mile, okay. Tom Sata wins the race. Maximum Secure or Improbable breaks all the way from the outside, sets the pace, did all the dirty work, and still only lost 3/4 of a length. That day was the day I thought, okay, he's going to be pretty good this year. Like, he looks better. So if he behaves himself, which is a huge if, I think we're going to see a hell of a race down the stretch here.
Listen, I think Improbable is definitely one of those horses that's gotten better with age, and he definitely is a lot better than he was. He's evolved into a nice horse. But listen, I think, and you kind of disagreed with me on the pod, but I think we're going to see Max's best race here. This is going to be his 3rd start with Baffert, and he ran his best career race on dirt or on going 2 turns. At least over here in the United States, of his career last time out. And so I think he's just he's getting better with Baffert, actually. So I really, I like the fact that, Abel was fine. He ran, I had no issues the way he rode him the 2 starts, but getting Luis back, who obviously last time rode him in the Saudi Cup. So, it's been a minute since he's been on him, but Luis Saez is hot. So, listen, I think he's going to sit a perfect trip. Improbable, you kind of have that benefit of having 2 really good horses in the same barn. That Improbable will be right there, and obviously Sleepy Eyes Todd's got plenty of speed. Midcourt has speed, and of course the winner or the one horse to take the 101 has speed. All this speed signed in to right to the inside of Maximum Security. You can just let them do what they need to do, and kind of just sit off of them. And the one thing about him is he never quits. Like the horse, or the heart on this horse, is just insane. How many times, Halter and I always kind of laugh about it after the fact. You'll see this horse, and a lot of times you'll see a horse start getting hit and whipped and really, really scrubbing on him. In the turn, you're like, well, shit, this is over. That horse is not showing up today. And that's what he's just a lazy horse. Like, he just keeps coming and keeps coming. So you give him a target. He's ran 12 times, and only once of those 12 times did he not hit that target. And so, I think it just, no matter what, he's one of those horses that not only runs to the level of competition, but he's never going to be one that wins by 10 either. He just always does his race, and that's it.
Yeah, and last time out, he didn't look quite as lazy. And I don't know if it's just because he might be just more comfortable being on the lead. Maybe that's going to be the key to it. But and I think that's another big factor in this race. Is he on the lead? Is Improbable on the lead? I mean, who's in front as they go up the backside and as they turn for home? I think that'll be fascinating to watch as well, because in both Improbable and Maximum Security have the ability to be on the lead, right? I mean, they both can. So it's just going to be a matter of what jockey decides to go up there or what horse decides to go up there. Sometimes the jockey didn't have a say in it. I think that's the fascinating thing about it. But you're right. I mean, and listen, I used to be like Slim and was like, forget Max. I don't care about him no matter what. I just hate him. But I like last year, his races at Aqueduct, Cigar Mile especially, it's like, yeah, he's just really good. He's just a really good horse. And I didn't go against him at Del Mar in those two races, but here I did go with Improbable on top. Just, I don't know. I guess I'm still curious, I guess would be the right word, to see him face a horse that we know is good and we know can win races outside of just California. Midcourt just doesn't qualify that for me. I don't care that he beat Midcourt. Now I care that, at least in the Pacific Classic, he did it like a good horse should beat Midcourt, right? He did it very easy. But let's see if he can beat Improbable. I think this is a good test. If anything, it's kind of going to give us an idea of how to bet him next time out in the Classic. Because if he goes out and disposes of Improbable, who's won two of our bigger races this year, well, he's probably a really strong favorite in the Classic.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, it's weird too, because like if Improbable loses, obviously like you don't feel great about him. I would Slim, maybe you disagree, but I don't love him a mile and a quarter, even though he did win earlier this year at a mile and a quarter. With Max Security, it's like if he loses, you could argue, okay, just get him back to a mile and a quarter. We know where he can do well there. Probably just love the mile and eighth, and you don't feel too bad about it. But still, in the opposite of that, it's like Maximum Security, if he doesn't win, it's almost like something's off, because he does just kind of always win. It's been a minute since we've seen him lose. So, and even then you look back and like, wow, that was shocking. This made no sense. So, I just don't see him getting beat. But as we move forward into the Classic, is this kind of your perfect, when you have that decision to make when handicapping which horse is better? Well, here we go. I mean, is this your perfect kind of handicapping to where you're like, all right, they're going to do it for me here, because I can see him square off in a short field. So I basically have no excuses there. See who's better, and then makes my decision in the Breeders' Cup Classic a lot easier.
Absolutely. I pray they both get a clean trip, because whoever loses, if you're on that horse, they'll make excuses, but they're really, like you said, there's not going to be an excuse, period, unless one of them stumbles or somehow, some way gets in traffic trouble. And by the way, if either one of these two horses get in traffic trouble today, shoot the jockey. Like seriously, right there on the track, put them down, because you can't be riding the 2 or the 5 and get in trouble. But where you can be, have some trouble is out of the gate, especially with Improbable. So I'm praying Improbable breaks and we get to see a clean matchup, top of the stretch, where they've each had a fair shot, and then we get to see who's best. That is what I'm really hopeful for today. But you're right, it is a perfect setup for now. We're going to find out who's better.
So we talked about these Baffords all day, and we have. We talked about this horse on the pod, just kind of a running joke internally about this horse, and you included this horse in the in our pick 4 there because you knew I'd pick Maximum Security. So Sleepy Eyes Todd, what's your spiel here with Sleepy Eyes Todd?
Well, I don't have one, but here's the deal with him. Listen, he's going to get beat, but I was kind of joking around with you and Magic earlier in the week. You said, well, who you picking in the Austin again? I said, Sleepy Eyes Todd, no doubt. thinking that you would know I was kidding around, but no, you didn't. And then Samich is using this horse, which is more than surprising. So Sleepy Eyes Todd won the Charlestown Classic by 7 last time out, but that's not even what I'm impressed with. I was impressed with his loss 2 races back at Lone Star Park. He lost to a horse called Hunk of Burning Love, who's won 7 in a row on the dirt. After he beat Sleepy Eyes Todd, Hunk of Burning Love shipped to Remington Park, won the Governor's Cup by 6, and then won an allowance by 13. So this horse is razor sharp, especially when running on the dirt. And he's actually going to be in the David M. Vance Sprint tomorrow. So he's cutting back at Remington, 3rd race tomorrow. Hell of a race to watch, by the way, because you got him cutting back. So it's not really his best distance. And you got some nice horses like Share the Upside for Steve Asmussen is going to be there. So that's going to be a really good race. But getting back to Sleepy Eyes Todd, a lot of people will look at it and say, well, he lost at Lone Star. And let's be real, that's not good at all, coming to Santa Anita now to run this. But it wasn't that bad of a loss is what I'm trying to get at. And that's really his only recent defeat. So we'll see. I mean, I think Sleepy Eyes Todd gets smoked here. But if you're going to play 3 horses, he's my 3rd.
Yeah, we need 3 turns in this race for sure.
Right, yeah, Charlestown Classic winner. And I'll tell you that here's the deal about the Charlestown Classic. All of us were like before that race, oh, this is going to be ultra competitive because they all suck. Well, he won an ultra competitive race by 7, so I think that should count for something.
I just think this race is going to be so interesting in a sense of the pace because you have a horse. You know, we talk a lot about how sometimes we talked about this on Blinkers Off this week. It's like you don't want to get too into the pace sometimes, especially when it comes to these grade 1s. But in this case, where you have the lower level horses like a Sleepy Eyes Todd, like the Take the 101, who typically just go to the front, you're going to have a little bit more, I feel like, of a pace setup with these horses that are just like, I got to go. You know, this is what we do. We go. And so that the pace, I think, is just going to be, you know, especially too, when you're talking about a horse, Sleepy Eyes Todd has to face, you know, maximum security. What's your best chance of winning? Running him into the ground, basically. And then might as well, right? You're not going to get, you're not going to beat maximum security by getting creative your first time by sitting off of it. So you might as well just go and hope you're just that good. So I think you're going to see a pace that's just red hot.
So let's review for a second, okay, and go back to Pacific Classic. We were all sitting here, and we were talking about midcourt. We're like, okay, if anybody can beat maximum security, not that we think he was going to win, but midcourt's the one you got to play, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got the biggest pussy ride of all time by Victor Espinoza, because midcourt needed to do exactly what you're talking about. Go to the front, and he holds him back. They rode him to hit the board. It was ridiculous. So now let's fast forward. Sleepy Eyes Todd. It's the same thing, same situation. You got one chance to win. It's to get way out in front and hope they don't catch you. That's it. That's your only chance.
Yep.
If they're close to you in the stretch, you're beat, right? So he needs to be like 3 ahead the whole time at minimum. So let's see if Rispoli has the balls to go out and do it. I'm going to guess that he does. So that's why I do think you're right. I think he is going to get the lead. I still don't think he's good enough. In these stakes races, when they hit the top of the stretch, 99 times out of 100, it comes down to class. And a horse like Sleepy Eyes Todd doesn't have the class of Improbable or Maximum Security. And so I'm afraid that class is going to hit him right in the face when he turns for home. But listen, for our sake, I hope it doesn't. I hope he goes wire to wire because we got him on the ticket.
I mean, yeah, probably last time out, ran down by my standards in Tom's Dietot. And so It's like, I mean, I guess Tom's Dietot came up for late, but still, it's like, yeah, you got to get it. Like that Sleepy Eyes Todd ain't sniff what this horse has been running against. And obviously Maximum Security's career has been all over the place in terms of who he's had to face. So you know that he's, like that's it. Talk about the ultimate class test. Well, Sleepy Eyes Todd's about to get it. Listen, I think midcourt's a pretty good horse, really. I mean, especially what they've asked this horse to do.
I hate him.
Running him in spots maybe he shouldn't. Technically, he does 2 for 2 in mile 8. I think this distance is his, right up his alley. So if you're going to win, I agree. But you just got to go, right? You just got to go and hope that, because I think we found out if you don't, you're just not going to be able to hang with these horses.
Yeah. Well, what happens if they all go? That's the other thing about it, right? He's got to go. Sleepy Ass Todd's got to go. Midcourt, take the 101, get to the front.
Luis just sits back and says, all right, go for it.
I think you touched on 1 mile and an eighth. We know Maximum Security is not going to have any problem with it. I think the one worry for me, I think 1 mile to 1 mile and 16th is really Improbable's sweet spot. So the 1 mile and an eighth, even though he's won a big race at 1 mile and an eighth, is it just a tad too long for him to beat Maximum Security? I think that's going to be a question mark. Like if we get to the last 100 yards of this race, if Improbable is ahead, can he stay ahead for that last little bit? That's definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing here as well. So, yeah, you said you liked Midcourt as far as a horse. I don't know. He makes me mad more than he doesn't make me mad, I guess is kind of the best way to put that.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I like both. I don't have it. Like I'm picking Maximum Security here. I'm fine with either one of them winning, to be honest, because I think it does good for to get one of these horses, or at least both of these horses, as a favorite going. I mean, I prefer if Improbable wins here, I would love to play against him in the Classic. I don't know, if Maximum Security has a decent excuse, then you could at least say. But again, you touched on this earlier. Good luck what kind of excuse can you find in this race? It's really hard to find an excuse in a 5-horse field. You're either good enough or you're not.
Yeah, exactly. I guess, the one good news for Improbable as far as this racing year is no crowds. So, he doesn't he's been good about not flipping out so far. So that's good.
He's like, I've been waiting for this all year.
Yeah, they're coming out of the tunnel. And boy, I don't know about you, Jared, but one of my favorite kind of scenes at Santa Anita is when they come out of the tunnel and onto the big, beautiful track there. This makes me miss going to Santa Anita for sure. But they're out on the track. Improbable, he's not happy, but he's not like sweating or anything. He's just kind of like bucking his neck a little bit. So he looks like he's behaving. He's important to watch, seriously. Because you just never know what he's going to do.
Yeah, 8-5 on Improbable and 1-2 on what of course you're, I guess at 8-5, are you playing Improbable? Like, is that value in your eyes?
It's not value, but I mean, it's good enough to play a win. But no, I don't think there's a whole lot of value there. It's just how you're going to get it. Like, he's 8-5 and it's a 5-horse field. So that's probably what he should be. It's
tricky because it's hard to sit there and be like, well, his value, because you have the other Baffert in the race. So in your case, you're sitting there. Do you really want to play 8-5 on Improbable when you're sitting, Maximum Security is a race? And the same goes with me. It's like, do I want to play 1-2 on Maximum Security when I know Improbable is in the race? Like, I need more value, I think, than that. So this is one that I'm just glad that we have a ticket live and we need these horses to get home. But other than like playing it, there's really not a lot of good ways to play it straight up either. If you're playing an exactor or whatever, unless you think if you can get Midcourt and Maximum Security, or Midcourt and Improbable would probably, obviously be a better payout. But if you can get those two home, that's the only way I think you can play that race from an exotic standpoint.
Yep. And you're going to talk about playing a winner. The problem is the values on the 1, the 3, and the 4. But the problem with that is there's no value in a losing ticket. So like those 3 horses, even at 300 to 1, I mean, maybe I'd put $2 on them, but you're not going to I just can't seriously play the 1 and 3 and the 4. I just don't think they have a shot. Now you look at it now, Improbable is 9-5, Maximum Security is 2-5. So now it is kind of getting up to like, okay, well, maybe we've got a little bit of a value, but still, you're right. It's hard to call 9-5 value when you're facing such a tough horse in Maximum Security. But it's good enough to play a win, I think.
Hey, we got a little guest here. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, I was able to catch just a few minutes before we got this race underway. I wanted to tune in, see what was going on.
Your grandma didn't want to get on?
No. Luckily, my parents took her out.
Well, I love that. No offense, Ricky. I'm glad to have you here. And, you, of course, were invited earlier. But I love that we are 4 minutes to post of one of the bigger preps of the Breeders' Cup season, especially as a classic, which happens to be at Santa Anita, and Magic is MIA. I love that. But Ricky, what are your thoughts on this race?
Obviously, you're playing Mad Max, or that's what I'm calling him. But I'm throwing out everyone else. The one horse that I want to focus on a little bit was the Big Long Shot, just because Take the 101 is going to be in the mix. So when you're early on, when you're looking, well, he's just mad because the Sooners already lost. That's why he's.
Oh, well, Ricky coming here firing shots.
You'll be next on Monday night. But the reason is, what would you play, right? So unless you're single to Max here and you're still alive, congratulations, because you've had some nice prices along the way. But how else would you play this? Just in a Mad Max Improbable Cold Exacta with your life savings? I don't really know how much value you're going to get. I literally just tuned in. So Halty, what were you thinking? Because maybe I'm off my rocker.
You are thinking to Take the 101 is a horse you need to play for sure.
No. For underneath purposes only.
Oh, underneath. Okay.
Yeah, no. I'm saying if I was to play an Exacta or try,
Gotcha.
by some miracle, are you going to get any value with a horse like Midcourt? I don't think Midcourt's that much better personally than Take the 101. If I'm talking about 50-1, I'm just talking about underneath, not on top. I was just saying if you're trying to find some value and you're going to throw Improbable out because you're not making money with Max and Improbable, you're not.
That's not bad. I agree with that. That's not bad.
We're sitting 1 minute to post, and we talked about this a little bit ago, Ricky, and you talking about the one here who obviously shows speed. We talked kind of what do you do here, because you have horses like the one, and you have horses like Sleepy Eyes Todd, the 3, who are very much speedsters, and that would be essentially their only way of possibly running their best race, right, would be to do what they do best. But in this situation where you have Improbable, who will show plenty of speed, and obviously Midcourt, if his best chance would be speed, surely some of these, all these horses won't go, right?
Well, and that's the thing, right? So if I had to pick between Improbable and Take the 101, for example, Improbable has a better chance to rate and win. Take the 101, who has to be on the lead and win. I'm not saying it's not going to Take the 101, excuse me, but if you're Take the 101, you have to be on the lead. You're not going to put Improbable to a 22-3 first quarter just for the sake of having the lead. So I just think it's something, 3-2 versus 50-1. It's probably going to be quick. Like you just mentioned, I prefer to take 50-1 if we're going to assume maximum security is going to win. So that's the way I was looking at it, because in a 5-horse field, even though they might go out, I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen this at Saratoga once in a while, or even, at Del Mar, like the quarters are a little slower because the field is so compact. And sometimes when you have, when you're not 8 to 10 deep or even deeper than that, the quarters are kind of slower. So you might be able to see a 23-4 or something along those lines just because it's so small.
They are loaded. And
calm down. Talking to Improbable.
What's up? He's calm.
Let him out. Okay. He did good. Good.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So here we are. Improbable goes, and your 1 goes, and it looks like Luis Saez is going to sit. How about that? The
Improbable's last.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong horse. The 4 horse and Improbable. How about the 4? Midcourt.
The 4 is ridden by. I'm not even going to get into it.
Who would like to be 4 wide into a?
Let's let him go 4 wide, and he does his best running. Like, in what world should maximum security be inside of Midcourt right now?
What is Improbable doing?
Well, okay, we don't know what's going to happen here, but would you rather have 50-1 with Take the 101 or Improbable, who looks like he's on Pacific Boulevard.
Yeah, are you selling improbable tickets right now?
Yes.
What is he doing?
And he's gonna Improbable's gonna have to go 5 wide.
In no world did I think that any horse would be that far back in this race, let alone Improbable.
Look, halfway through the race, as they're beginning the far turn, take the 101 looks pretty damn strong for what
he does.
Getting. I don't know what you're gonna get.
Are we really gonna have a 50-1 winner here?
Improbable is moving.
I tell you what, Maximum Security better get going.
They're all going, but I mean,
come on, Improbable.
Improbable looks really good.
And there goes it. So,
come on.
There was the difference.
Wow, look at this performance.
Not even close.
I'm telling you what, boys, that the way he just won that race, considering he was like Halterman was yelling at him what the hell he was doing, and just basically won by that same distance at the end. That was incredible. This horse all of a sudden.
Well, we were talking about going. The biggest takeaway I took from that is
nice pick.
Look at the quarters: 23-1, 46-1. There was a reason Drayden sat off. That's one. And two, it never really became 5 wide. It was really horses kind of collapsed. So no one sustained that 3-4 wide bid that really allowed Improbable to probably chase from through that 3 or 4 path, which definitely helped, even though no one was beating him anyway.
That was unbelievable.
I'll tell you guys something. I'm really proud of myself on this pick. I'm just going to say it.
Pat on the back.
Did you leave Max off?
No, I picked Improbable to win the race.
Oh, yeah. I still think at 9-5, 9-5 is in terrible value.
We are live, boys and girls, to 3 horses in the last leg, and we just upset Maximum Security as well. So I think we're going to have some decent payouts here coming.
I'll tell you something. That was a hell of a race by that horse.
Yeah.
Improbable, a horse that just couldn't get out of his own way last year. You think about it, basically a year ago, essentially almost a year ago to the day, September 21st was the Pennsylvania Derby. And this horse was beaten by Math Wizard and Mr. Money and War of, which, by the way, Mr. Money came back to win today, finally. War of Will, and then this horse. And then, of course, the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile was a disaster. And the Oaklawn Mile, he gets beat by Tom Ciatot. No issue there. And then the horses just continue to just be unbelievable. He ran a 105 buyer in the Gold Cup. You ran a 106 in the Whitney. And I'm going to guess he ran just that here, too. I mean, that was really – he's the favorite, and you don't even feel bad. I mean, I talked about earlier him winning this race, and you say, well, I'd like to play against him in the Classic. I might want to tap the brakes on that statement.
He's my Classic horse, period.
Yeah, well, and that was going into – let's take this back before the Derby, right? So when we got on and we were, I guess, maybe looking at potential Triple Crown horses, but I think everyone in the country would have said you have a couple choices for the Classic. Everyone said Tis the Law. Everyone said Maximum Security. If you ask the same people, and maybe not in that order, but one of those two, either 1, 2, 2, 1, depending on how you felt about it. You look now, and I think it's fair to say you wouldn't be ranking those horses 1, 2 after this performance. You're going to throw Improbable in there. You're going to obviously throw Authentic in there. Maybe we'll see something else in the Preakness that we didn't expect. This is all of a sudden, and tell me if I'm wrong, I think this division got not only more enticing to watch, a must-watch TV, it's also much more wide open now. I think you can make a case for 5, 6 horses as opposed to 1 or 2 just a month ago.
I think you can make the case for 1, and I think it's the horse that just won. That's the best race I've seen all year. Now, Ricky, I totally agree. It just became wide open because if Maximum Security wins that race, then it's not wide open. But since Improbable won, there's still going to be doubters, and then the Tis the Law camp creeps in, the authentic if he wins the Preakness camp, Tom Zata, these other ones creep in. But the thing I will say about Improbable, that was really special what he just did, because for half the race it looked like he was going to get pulled up. So Improbable just showed he could win from dead last, and he showed he can also win in first.
You can't tell me that was you can't tell me that Baffer's going to be like, yeah, that's how we drew it up. I wanted him to be, a mile off the pace.
No chance. Well, I also think, and this is where I think I want anyone who's going to watch later on, watching now, just to be careful, because Halty, like you just brought up, he could win off. I don't know. I don't disagree. Incredibly talented horse. But if you ask Baffert, I'm pretty sure, like Jared just said, this is not the way you drew it up, A. And B, if you're going to win the Classic, you're not coming from off the pace. I don't think he's that talented of a closer. I think the pace kind of really just collapsed.
Well, I think to Ricky's point, what he said a little bit ago is, and I understand what you're saying, Alterman. Yeah, that was by far the most powerful performance we've seen this year as far as the Classic horse is considered, and certainly is going to be deservingly of that favorite. But considering he just won, and then the fact that, Tom has beat him earlier in the year, and then he did beat him in the Whitney, but Tom kind of had the excuse. And then now all of a sudden it's like you kind of add all these horses back into the mix, so to speak, because of Improbable, of who he's faced, and like he said, like with Tom Diatot beating him, and then you're also going to have, Max Bounce or whatever. Now next he's fine. We don't know what happened, but we're running back in the Classic and believe that everything's fine. So, and again, he's one that even though he was beaten well there, you don't necessarily feel awesome about not picking him. As far as if you wouldn't want to leave Maximum Security off your ticket still, I feel like in the Classic, assuming he runs.
I wasn't really listening, but I'm gonna rant on the favorite guy that I like to rant on. Victor Espinoza is one of the worst jockeys that has won big races that I've ever seen in my life. Why he is still on midcourt after seemingly dozens of just shitty rides. It's just like, I can't even believe, like I watched this guy ride midcourt, specifically. I can't even believe it. Like, I can't even believe how bad of a ride that was. He went 4 wide in a 5-horse field.
He literally rides him to hit the board.
He didn't. What did he? He was riding him to go in the parking lot. I have no idea what he was doing. Anyway, carry on.
Real quick before you brought that up, I'm happy you brought up the jockey point. I want to talk about the other point of Luis Saez coming out to ride. He did not do anything wrong. If someone's going to look and say, well, Luis, first of all, Luis was aboard. I brought this up on Mad Max when the coronavirus. I said he deserves to get back on this horse if he can. He absolutely does, because he had done everything right up until the coronavirus. It's not his fault. So if anyone's going to point and say, well, maybe Luis Saez shouldn't have gotten him back aboard, wrong statement. And he didn't do it. I mean, Mad Max just wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. He was too close to an incredibly quick pace is what it comes down to. And that's where he's been his entire career, 2-3 lengths off. So anyone who had thought about saying Luis Saez was the issue, that's not the case. He gave the right ride.
I think Maximum Security was just kind of dull. He still tried. He showed heart. He got second, but I don't think Maximum Security even knew that Improbable was in the race.
Yeah. No, that's
fine. I mean, shit, he rounded them like no big deal. I mean, I don't think most of them thought Improbable was in the race until he went right by him.
He thinks he won, I think, right now, because he's like, I beat midcourt again. Like,
who's that donkey in the first spot?
I want to ask you guys this. We see this in horse racing. We see this in sports when it's like you might be winning or you might be successful, but it's how you do something, right? So Max hasn't looked the same since he's come back, but he has been winning. I'm not here to say that this was the effort that we thought, because I'm not going to lie, but a lot of people have been hinting that a type of a dull performance, Halty, like you said, or his B performance or B plus performance wasn't going to be good enough moving forward as the races got bigger and the stakes got bigger. And I think this is what we saw. He had just not looked the same for whether it was overseas, whether it was, I'm not going to say a barn switch, but whatever the situation is, whatever you want to come up with, coronavirus, he just hadn't looked the same.
Well, one of the big points that Haltern made on the pod, he made earlier on his case with Improbable. Slim agreed in his pick as well with Improbable, which I'm shocked that we haven't heard from Slim. But is that you look at Maximum Security, and you kind of said what he said earlier, where it's like, yeah, listen, he's winning. Like he looks the same. I mean, he's winning, so he looks the same in that regard. He hasn't faced an Improbable yet, and Improbable, look who he has been facing, and look what happened. He got second, but he got blasted by Improbable, who obviously is just running at a different level right now. Maybe a level that Maximum Security used to run at. Who knows? But still, to that point, it's as simple as that. He had not been running against the Improbable. He did today, and he was second best by a margin.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess kind of to go to kind of transition to the Max talk like you guys have. I do agree with Ricky that he was winning, but it was just like, I just want to see him beat a decent horse, because visually he didn't look good, but it's like, yeah, God, he's winning races, and Del Mar's not an easy track to look like a beast at anyway. So yeah, I was with you, but it's just like, let's see if he beats Improbable. If he can beat him, we know he's good. Like, even if you come into this race, you didn't think he was great, he was better than what he faced. So, and it just turned out, sometimes you get lucky and you're right. But I think with Max, I'm rewatching the race now, running down the lane. He's starting to, like, mid-court's like almost starting to catch up to him almost at the wire too. I don't think he even ran as good as he was doing at Del Mar though today. I don't think he ran his Del Mar races. I think he was just off. And if one thing you remember with Max, they always spaced his races way out with service, right? And that may be to get shit out of his system, possibly. But they always spaced the races way out. He's ran 3 races, for him, relatively quick turnaround. So maybe this third one was a little too quick for him today. But, he really doesn't, like Ricky said, Zayas didn't ride him bad. There's really no excuse here. He just got beat.
Yeah, excuse me. And to piggyback off of your point, I don't know what this had to do with anything. I might be looking into it. Maximum Security had 0 starts over this track. Improbable was 2 for 3 on this track.
Mm-hmm.
With a win in the Gold Cup in the last time he was on this track. I don't know how much there is to look into that. I think it might be a factor of everything, because just like you said, if you just watch the stretch drive, and you take the numbers off and you're not looking at PPs, you look at the horse in second and you're saying, I don't really know what they're doing. They're kind of tired. Mid-court's kind of tired. It just kind of looked like Mad Max could have used this time to kind of just relax and wait for that Breeders' Cup moment. And maybe he wouldn't have shown up in the Breeders' Cup. Who knows? But I'm just saying, now you kind of look, and this definitely looks like a vulnerable horse. I'm curious to know when the next poll comes out where the people rank him, because this was not good. It's not a neck, it's not a nose, it's not even a length. This was multiple lengths.
I think a lot of people might hold Improbable's past against him a little bit, which is fair. But if you just look at his last 3 races, he won the Santa Anita Gold Cup by 3 1/4. He won the Whitney by 2, and now he's won the Awesome again by, like, what was that, 7, 8 lengths?
Yeah, he was.
He has the resume of a horse that should be.
Maximum Security ran 10 feet, beaten 4 3/4 is official, and ran 10 feet less than Improbable. Maximum Security did so.
Yeah, I think Improbable is the number 1 horse in America now, because he was kind of in position anyway to be there if he won today, and then he won impressively. So I think he moves to number 1, and then Max got to be top 3 or 4 still, right?
Well, I'll ask you guys this: based off what you saw, I'll just take these two horses, A and B. Tis the Law versus Mad Max. One of them is going to win the Classic. Who would you lean towards? I think that's I think a lot of people would, honestly. Yeah. And just if you're going off their last races, Churchill Downs was so speed driven that I think a lot of people would look into that authentic win and say that's why. Because if there wasn't as much bias, Tis the Law probably passes. And then we're talking about Tis the Law as the best horse in the country.
Right. Yeah, he would be the favorite over Improbable, who would be the second choice if he would have won the Derby. Yeah.
Right. And I think, we could look at Tom's too, right? Does Tom's rank ahead of Max at this point? That's another tough call. I mean, you can make a legitimate argument that if Authentic comes out of the Preakness with a win and looks halfway decent in doing so, because it seems like it's going to be a decent field with 1,000 words and R Collector, and Swiss, I think, is officially in. Tell me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
That's going to be a better field than we kind of anticipated. And the reason, I guess, I don't know if you guys talked about this earlier in the show, but because Tis the Law is not going for it, people kind of feel like it's wide open now, as opposed to if the Tis was going for it, people are like, we'll kind of save our shots, save our bullets for a later time. The field's all of a sudden gotten better. So I think you can make the argument that Mad Max is 4th or 5th in your Classic list, not you, but just anyone's list.
Right.
So I think this division just got wide open.
What are your, Halterman, you made, you're very public, obviously, on your hatred, at least former hatred for Improbable. You're starting to maybe come back around now. That's 3 straight wins for the horse, 3 straight dominating wins, frankly. The Gold Cup, he won by 3 1/4. He won by 2 in the Whitney, and just won by close to 5, let's say. 3 grade 1s, by the way, winning at 1 1/4, 1 1/8, 1 1/8. So are we? And look at his resume. I mean, shit. The horse, after winning 3 in a row to start his career, he was awful, or he was very inconsistent. Are you kind of back? Like, can you count on him in the Classic?
Yeah, absolutely.
I your pick, but can you count on him?
I mean, I just picked him at 9-5 to beat a 2-5 shot that hadn't lost, in how long? Over a year. So yeah, absolutely. I counted on him to do that. I can count on him in the Classic. It wasn't the Gold Cup that convinced me, because that race was very similar to what Maximum Security had been beating. So I didn't take it very serious. You went up to the Whitney and you beat Improbable, and you beat By My Standard, or you beat By My Standards, and you beat Tom Zitad, and yeah, he stumbled, but you still beat him. That's got to open eyes, right? I mean, that's got to open your eyes. And that's why I respect him enough to defeat it, or to pick him here to defeat Mad Max, as Ricky says. And again, I go back to the Oaklawn race to kick off the season, breaking from the parking lot and almost beating Tom Zitad at a mile. I thought that was an excellent race for him too. So, hey, I'm all about him. Yes, I was on his camp after that Whitney win. It just so happens that Maximum Security shows up in this race, and you got, 9-5 on a horse that probably would have been 2-5 if Mad Max isn't in the race. So, yeah, I feel great about him going forward. And again, another thing I think is really going to help him. There's no crowd.
That's true.
And he came up, and he hadn't had anybody to deal with. He still has gait problems. He tried again to do something stupid, but they calmed him down real nice. And again, I just think if you can, maybe he's not going to sit that far off the pace ever again. But when you have that where you could do it, that's a huge factor to me. And you look at it last year when he would do his stupid shit and get behind, he couldn't make any ground up at all. He wouldn't, like at Pennsylvania Derby. Once they got to the stretch, he was right there, but he couldn't pass horses. His MO was, I got to be in front. He didn't seem like he's going to have any trouble passing horses this year, right? So, you talk about a horse that's winning grade 1 races on the lead and from dead last. And I mean, yeah, I'm 100% confident that he's going to show up at Keeneland with a good race. Now, I mean, is he good enough to win? We'll see on that day. We got a lot of time to make that decision. As of right now, why in the hell would I want anybody else?
Isn't it funny that you can literally can see from the moment there was no crowds, he's a different horse?
Yeah.
I mean, it's for a horse that's like, has just historically been a horse that has issues with acting up. It's funny that he's just a cool, chill, maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's not. He totally is a different horse. In the Breeders' Cup, like you mentioned, will have no fans there.
No, and you look at it, you look at his races, like, when there's been fans, Pennsylvania Derby, Breeders' Cup Mile, Preakness, Derby. He was awful. He was acting awful in all these races. Right now, he has won. Like, he won the Los Al Futurity. Okay, what was it? Like 100 people there? I mean, that's the thing. You don't like big swells of Breeders' Cup fans at Keeneland when there's 30, 40,000 people on top of you in the paddock. They're stacked onto you.
Yeah.
And now there's not going to be anybody there. It's a huge break for him. Especially, like, think of Oaklawn, him in the paddock at Oaklawn. Thank God there wasn't anybody there that day. There's no telling what he would have done. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you get a break, right? Sometimes you get a break.
Well, to tack on to that point, maybe and I don't know if people have thought about this, maybe he just got more mature as a 4-year-old. I mean, that's possible. Like, people, Halty, to your point, you said people might look at his past. Fair enough. You might, because he's a nutcase. But maybe he's just matured. I mean, he hasn't really done, like you said, except for that Oaklawn race where he was running on the highway for the longest time. I mean, anyone can rewatch that race and make the case that Improbable was the best horse in that race. So,
absolutely.
So who's had a better 2020 other than the two horses going for the Triple Crown than Improbable? Maybe Tom's because he beat him. I'll make the argument after this win, Improbable's had a better 2020. I'll make the case that he still had a better 2020 over Mad Max. So maybe he's just matured as a 4-year-old. That's also, maybe the crowds obviously will help, but it's also possible he's just matured a little bit.
No doubt.
I think some people don't really factor that in. I mean, this is only his 4th start, and he's won every race by multiple lengths with ease, except the one race over a wet, fast surface. Again, parked from literally the parking lot. So how can someone look at this horse and think there's not a way he's going to show up? If he's not good enough, he's not good enough. But it's not going to be he runs 5th by 6 lengths because he's not trustworthy. I think that argument's out the window.
I'm really interested to see the number that comes back here too, because visually that looked like just a nutty performance, right? But I'm wondering how slow were those horses that finished behind him? Like, how bad did they run? So I think we're going to get that answer. We'll get it pretty quick. I think by this evening, Santa Anita will have the buyers out, and that'll be the first look at it. Time form will probably come out this evening or tomorrow morning. But how does was it visually impressive because he was the only one that ran a very good race? So I think that's going to be a big question mark. There you go. Improbable. Our boy Ernie.
Isn't it good to have Ernie back? I mean,
it's
nice to have some legit photos in there and look at that horse. To me, he's just a true specimen. Really impressive looking horse for sure. He always has been, though.
Yeah, no, he has. He's definitely a looker. Another thing, if you want to talk about it, he's got some off track form too. So if it's an off track, you got to be able to do that as well. So that's another big thing. I mean, if you're thinking Tiz the Law is like a big challenger, well, if it's an off track, we don't know about him. He lost on his only time running on off track. So anyway, there's a lot of good factors, I guess is what I'm saying, in his favor. He's got the best trainer in the game. He's won 3 straight grade 1s at the big tracks. There's not going to be many fans, so he's probably not going to act out. Again, I think he has the resume of an 8-5 classic horse. And I think if Maximum Security had the same resume, he'd be like even money in the classic. So you might get value still on Improbable even after he just waxed this field like he did.
It's funny you talk about, I guess at this point we could look forward to that Breeders' Cup Classic. There's 2 ways that anyone who's in the Mad Max camp can go. You can say this was great because now I'm going to get value on this horse moving forward.
Yep.
Or you can look at it and say this horse is a throwout. Like, I'm not looking, you can't look at this horse the same way. Like, I'll take, for example, I think a lot of people are still on Tiz the Law. Like, this is probably still the best 3-year-old in the country. Just a lot of things went against his way. Authentic was just extremely brave on the front end, and Churchill Downs had a big speed bias. I still think a lot of people would take Tiz the Law over Authentic. I could be wrong in saying that. That's definitely my opinion. But Maximum Security showed a massive, massive flaw with this race. So either you're still in that camp and you're not that upset because you're going to get value moving forward, or you're not using this horse anymore. I'm probably in the not using this horse anymore camp, because if this just happened, how are you going to look at a better field and make the argument that he's going to run that much better? He's not going to have that. He'll have what, 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks, whatever. I don't know if that's enough time for him to put out a massive performance like that when we've seen him not look at his best on multiple occasions this year since he's come back. So
yeah, no, I agree, Jared. I want you to weigh in, because you liked him. You thought he would run a career best race here. What are you doing with him going forward? Because you're in the camp that thought he would run big today.
Yeah, I mean, certainly no surprise to me that Improbable won. It may be a little bit surprised how he did it. I think it surprised us all. But I liked Improbable, and I mentioned to use both of them. I am surprised, even though he did finish second, how flat. It's got to remember, guys, this is kind of a historic moment. We haven't seen Maximum Security not finish the wire front in first only one other time. So it's not something we're normally seeing, especially just getting blasted. So I am a little surprised again. So I think the way I look at him moving forward, say we're putting together a pick 5 of the Breeders' Cup, I'm not necessarily going to be all about throwing him out, because I do think assuming he trains well and they point to him or point to the race still. He still, to me, is a horse that would scare me, especially at a better price that you're going to get at the Breeders' Cup. With that said, I certainly lost a lot of that, the fact, I just assumed he would run a really big race. So I think that tells you something's not quite the same with that horse. Because it's not about him getting beat. Like I said, to me, that's when I'm not hanging my hat on, I can't believe he lost. I can believe he lost, because I think Improbable, I thought it was a possibility that Improbable was really good and was perfect for the spot. I am surprised that he got blasted by 5 lengths.
I mean, especially since I thought Improbable was getting pulled up. So I think that's where.
Imagine if he not got pulled up, but say he just never ran much. Maximum Security, we would have been sitting here saying Maximum Security, which, by the way, would have been a slower time, but it said Maximum Security just won and barely held off. Was it mid-court, right? Mm-hmm. And that would be like, well, what the hell are we supposed to do? We'd be having this conversation. Well, he keeps winning, and he just does what he needs to do, and whatever. It kind of, you know what I mean? It's such a huge change of opinion in him based off of what Improbable just did.
Whether you like Improbable going forward or not, Baffert may have done us a big favor to tell us, and I think, Ricky, you're kind of getting at it.
Yeah.
We're done with Max. He just did us. Could you imagine if he sent Max right to the Breeders' Cup and you would have backed him in that race, and he runs that kind of performance? So I think you're right.
He would have been he might have been. I'm making a legitimate case. Is he not 4 to 5 even money? If they sit him,
he's 8 to 5 at worst, right?
At worst,
yeah.
At worst. So
I agree.
You're right. He might have just done everyone a favor. And to the point of Improbable maybe getting pulled up, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the comments, and especially with Drayton, because this is not a thing Baffert could answer. Was he just so not himself at the beginning into that first turn where he was kind of forced to take him up? Or did he just take the 101, just spin out there and say, I have to take him up? Was he forced to, or did he read the race? It'll be interesting to see, because those are two different things.
Totally.
He could answer whatever he wants, but we know that one of the reasons he won by so much is when you go in 23-1, 46-1, I believe it was. It's going to be tough to wire a field like that, going those types of fractions. It's going to be incredibly difficult. So
all right, we're loading in the gate for this last race, and we need preferably the 6 here would be the big 4 that we gave out earlier. An 80, I think it was what is that? It was 81, I think, dollars.
If you played it for $1, yeah.
For $1, 157 for the 2, 1,200 for the 6 and 269 for the 10. Those are the 3 we have. Obviously, getting the 6 home would be awesome.
So, Ricky, what you just said, Baffert mentioned Drayden decided to pull him back after reading the race. So if that is actually true, what a brilliant move by Drayden, who is like always on the edge with Baffert. Like,
yeah, I was
ironing, you know,
move.
That takes balls.
Because what the fuck are you doing, man? Like,
and that's one of the reasons he looked so. We were kind of looking at it like, it does make sense because he was kind of angling. He wasn't near the rail at all. He was really kind of setting him up to go 5
way wide. Yeah.
So he was setting that up in the backstretch. Now, luckily, things kind of collapsed, so we didn't really have to go 5 wide. But
here we go.
It makes sense. So
what do you? What?
We're for the 6.
We're going. Yeah, 2, 6, or 10. It's
all
probably
of them are positive ROIs, but we would like to have the 6.
Yeah. So they bet that 2. I bet hard, Jared. After what happened.
Yeah, with that, yeah. 4 to 5.
Yeah.
The 10 took a lot of money for a first-time starter.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Golly, that 2 wants to go.
It's a little quick.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can to keep that 2 back, strangling the shit out of him. Where's our 6 at? Right in the middle there, mid-pack. Come on, one time. Strangling the 2 is right, Dan. Strangling him. So we'll see how that works out. Jeez. 6 is right there. I mean, the 2 should win for fun, the way that he's sitting on him, the way he looked like he wanted to go. Don't love the 6 now. Where's your 10 at?
Right off the 6. The 10's running a very professional race at this point.
He's going to hit the top of the lane in the lead. Who will he have to hold off, if anybody?
The 2's way out in the middle.
Golly.
There he goes. He's straightening it out.
Well, we're going to hit it, I think, but it's just a matter of it paying, Jack.
Here comes the 7. That's the danger. Yeah, so congratulations. My God, that 2 is green as grass. He won, but he's
golly, he had to keep him straight the whole way.
Did that horse ever switch leads? Did that horse switch leads at any point?
I think he switched leads like 27 times. He was like all over the place.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if the right was in front or the left was in front.
If you played the ticket for 50 cents, it cost you $40.50. And let's see, 157 so $78.50 minus $40.50. So you made $38.
That's at least a round of drinks. So
listen,
we're here all night, folks. So
if you watch the show and now you have $38 more because of the show, that's not bad.
We beat Maximum Security and we beat whoever the Spielberg.
So can I address something real quick?
And we had a 10-1 included. So
I think these payoffs were super low.
I was surprised at how low these were, to be honest with you.
I thought it would be $157 for 50 cents, not for $1. I really thought you'd get at least $150 no matter who won this one. So
I agree.
Well, yeah. I think it really goes to show how much people probably singled this too.
Yeah,
that's what you're telling me, because, or the other way to look at it is not as many people singled Max as we thought. There are 2 ways you could look at it. We're not going to know what the answer to that is, but yeah, and the 2 is 50 yards away from finishing 4th.
Look at that. People are cashing though. It's all that.
Well, listen, it's better than not cashing. I really thought it would be more when we got that first one home, but you're right. I think Ricky's right. I think this was a pretty key horse, and they was bet like that at 4 to 5. So,
see, it's all about the little things. If we can help you get more guac, then that's all we're here for, really. So,
two
as well. Like you said, this is a time to tune in. If anything, we should, get all the minds together, and good thing, like you said, good thing we didn't, have magic on, or else you probably would have screwed it up. So.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I'll tell you guys this, and this is don't take this the wrong way, Jared, because I've loved our podcast for years. I don't know how long we've done it, but this is my favorite thing that we do now. Like these live shows are just fun. Even when Authentic wins the Kentucky Derby, it was still fun. Even when we're wrong, it's fun. And I think what makes it fun is all you people that are on here, and it really it's the best simulation of us all being at the track. You've got, people, we're all talking, we're all like interacting, we're trying to cash tickets. I think we did a good job of it again. So yeah, I think I have a blast doing it with you guys. It's great.
Well, what's good is it's essentially what you and I especially are texting nonstop throughout these days anyways. So we might as well just get on here and talk and let other people listen in if they want to chime in as well. And hey, maybe we'll give out some pick fours,
Yeah. So. We might see Ricky's grandma too. So
hey, is grandma back yet?
No. The early bird special doesn't exist here in New York, so they have to eat at regular time. But what I will say regarding the StreamYard or whatever, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, whatever anyone's watching on, through the coronavirus, Halty, on the Twitter account mostly, and even the pods, this is the situation that we're living in. Find the biggest positive you can make. Find a way that you can make either an improvement or the situation better. And for us, as along with other horse racing diehard fans of the sport, they've made the most of it. It was the only sport that stayed around. It was the only sport that had action. Thank you, Oaklawn and Gulfstream. But, we've made it through. You made it through that stretch, and now the sport is thriving bigger and better than ever. And I think in a backhanded, messed up way, even though we're not at the track, the sport has grown. And you could see from the handle at Saratoga. You could see it from the handle at Del Mar. I mean, you just look at some of these pools, the pick 5 pools at Santa Anita. It's competing with the first big weekend of college football, and you wouldn't know it. And I think it's important that people really take pride in the sport because it's a smaller knit community for sure, but it's still very strong. So I think people need to really, whether it's through Racing Dudes or whether it's on their own or whatever the case is, to really take pride in being part of this community because we do all care about it. And we're getting to the best maybe 5 weeks of the year coming up, between Preakness, which is going to have a great field, and the Breeders' Cup, which is 5.5 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I don't know the exact numbers, but
to that point, I mean, listen. I mean, next weekend obviously is the Preakness, like you mentioned, October. What is that? October 3rd, I think. And you have Keeneland coming back, so you've got sprint races, juvenile races, classic races. Obviously, the Preakness being a classic race this year. We have, including the weekend, or including Sunday, I'm sorry. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Breeders' Cup Challenge races next weekend, Friday through Sunday. So, including the Preakness. So, yes, it's a very weird but awesome time to be alive right now because you have all this action. Of course, by that time next week, the Chiefs will be 3-0, and we'll have that going on as well. And the Ravens will be 2-1 with their hopes being dashed, of course.
To that point, we'll let Lamar and the Oklahoma boys take care of business. But I didn't know they had Wi-Fi at Arrowhead Stadium. That's where I feel like you are. I feel like if it were up to you, you'd be doing the show from the parking lot at Arrowhead with your replica ring pop that Patrick Mahomes left for you.
I mean, okay. For one, are you sure you want to count the Oklahoma boys? Let's start with that.
Andrews and Hollywood Brown. And Halty's on my side. So that's 3 Oklahoma guys to your 1 Texas.
Well, hopefully they play about as well as the Oklahoma boys did today. So, I do think it's going to be a good game. And honestly, kidding aside, I really don't think. I mean, I hate to say it, it doesn't really matter because I think both teams are going to be very, very good all year and late into the season, of course. But it is fun. Obviously, week 3, all players for the most part, are healthy, so you have that kind of to go on. And Monday Night Football, and I can't wait, dude. So, what's the bet? Tell the people what the bet is, because I honestly lost the track of what you guys came up with.
So, for the record, for everyone watching who will be watching going back, whatever the case may be, I'm a Raven fan and Jared's a Chief fan, and for the sake of the conversation, we know Halty is rooting for me because of Oklahoma. So fair enough. And the skill position players went to Oklahoma, Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown. So we thought there should be a fun way where we can spice things up, a friendly bet, a friendly wager, because it's only week 3, right? So both teams are 2-0. They're probably both going to make the playoffs, probably both get buys or top 4 seeds or whatever the case is. So my idea to put horse racing into perspective, we do a $100 pick 5. The loser has to fund that. But in the same breath or same token, the loser is rooting for the winner, because if it hits, the winner would split. So including the cost of the ticket as well. So, what it comes down to is you're still rooting for the other person, which is part of the friendliness in the whole thing. There won't be any bitterness because, at least from my perspective, if I had to give $100 and I couldn't bet my horses that I liked, I would have no problem letting anyone on the website do it. That's how much trust I have. So I figure it's like you're betting for me if I lost, and I would hope the same thing for you after Lamar wins. So that's the other bet was for the loser to put on the other team's merchandise on a picture on Twitter. I would have been all for that on top of it, but my Twitter following isn't as strong. That's okay. I'm willing to admit it. I know I'm gonna win, so I was willing to do it anyway. But Halty was a moderator, the third person, and said, we should probably just try to incorporate horse racing into it, because that's what has brought us together.
Listen, I've got the best merge of those plans. So I think it's what you're doing is fine. I think doing the pick 5 thing, that's fun, and we can root for each other at the end of the day. But what needs to happen is the loser has to wear, I have a Mahomes jersey you can wear, and you give me a Lamar jersey I have to wear the Lamar jersey, for instance, around Oakland that day while we're, that's what I wear. And the goal is you have to take pictures with people, and we post it on our Twitter account. So if I win, you got to wear the Mahomes jersey and take pictures around Oakland.
That doesn't cost me $1, so that's fine. I want to know what the obsession is with the pictures on Twitter. That's the ultimate question here, because I don't mind taking pictures. That's fine. It doesn't cost me anything. If you want anything else for free that's not extremely embarrassing, like wearing a chicken suit to Oakland, I'll do it. I just don't know what the infatuation with the pictures in the other person's merchandise is. As long as the jersey's clean, I don't mind wearing it. I'll even wear that stupid afro that he has on his head.
Wait, you're giving him shit about his afro as a Lamar fan? Okay, got it. No, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, we'll work it out. The Chiefs are winning anyways. I'm not worried about it.
Well, I do want to backtrack for everyone. I will be attending Oakland right around the Super Bowl, so I think that's the missing link. I've never been. I've always wanted to go, and it's extremely close to Arrowhead Stadium for Jared, where he lives, and Halty for where he lives. So I will be out there where I'll figure out a date, hopefully after the Super Bowl, and I'm praying the Chiefs don't win so I don't have to be around that. But I'll root for anyone, the Rams even. I just don't want to be around that. But so yes, that's the missing link. I will be at Oakland for the first time come early March or late February, sometime in that area. So
gosh, let's pray we get a semi-normal Oakland experience this year. Let's really hope, because we have a lot of high hopes for that, and obviously, that a lot of that went to the wayside last year, and we want to get all our guys out there and have a good time. So hopefully, Oaklawn, we can get back to normal next year of racing. All right, I think we've been on here for what time we got on at 5:30? Yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah.
So
had enough of both of you.
Congratulations to Halterman for having Improbable there on the website as well, and of course, has a lot. I mean, that was a big time result as we move forward to the Classic, and obviously, what do you do with maximum security, and what do you do with Improbable, and what do you do with Tom's Diatot and things like that? Because I think that all rolls into one. So we'll probably be back next week talking Preakness, talking Keeneland, you name it. So you're gonna get
and a Ravens victory.
And yeah, we'll talk about that. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks guys for being here. We'll see